G'day, guys. Welcome back to the Supercoach Swordplay podcast. It is season 4, episode 18. But, boys, it's more than just an episode tonight because we have our community appreciation potty. Really successful last year, boys, when they did the same thing. But we've got some new faces. They may be some familiar faces to many of you that are watching or tuning in from wherever you are. But we have some absolute legends of our community coming onto the podcast to give some of their thoughts, answer some questions, and we're putting them in charge of the mailbag this week. So the three of us, we're taking a step back, and it's up to our guests to do their best to help out the community with their conundrums for this week. So before we get right into this, Janath, how you been, brother? Excited for this one tonight, mate?
Oh, it's super keen. I always love putting this one together, boys, because you just get to bring all the whole community together, give them the chance to step into our shoes a little bit. And look, we may be the ones asking the questions at the end of the day here. So how the tables have turned. But no, great week. Unfortunately, Blues couldn't get up, but we'll move on. That's right. Spilsy?
Yeah, very well, boys. Bit nervous for this one, actually. High expectations for the big audience, so it's going to be good. It's great to finally get involved with our community. But yeah, going really well. Going better than Essendon anyway, but that's another story. Don't even want to get started on that. Pretty cruisy weekend. A wet game of footy on Saturday. Got the win as well, which was great. But yeah, looking forward to getting stuck in the Supercoach, and more importantly, our wonderful community that tune in every single week. I think we underestimate how much people actually get around it. So yeah, really looking forward to this one, lads.
Absolutely, mate. So look, the regular segments that we usually go through, we are going to skip most of those. So we'll go through a very, very quick rapid fire round of you because, as you mentioned, Spills, it's all about the community today. We'll get them to answer some of your mailbag or all of your mailbag questions, and then we'll also finish off with our trades and captains for the week, as always. But boys, up to $265 for the Royal Children's Hospital Good Friday appeal. Great feeling, isn't it? And that is continuing to rise. We've officially sold out of our first batch now, boys.
Yeah,
so
crazy.
The order is on. We're getting the new batch in. They'll be exactly the same style, exactly the same quality and all the rest. But thank you so much to anyone that's purchased a beanie. You'll see a few beanies on heads tonight with our special guests. So thank you very much, guys.
I reckon this is the perfect time to announce that the beanies may not be the only thing to hit the market coming up. We'll keep that one on the low, but stay tuned.
Absolutely, mate. Remember, as always, guys, if you're after any sort of our merch, supercoachswordplay.com is where you'll find that. So feel free to jump on there. Before we get into it, the Supercoach Swordplay Wall of Fame. So on the left, we can see our great friend Ange here. So you will see her again tonight, actually, because she's going to be part of our appreciation podcast. And the other legend on the right here, boys, we've all spent a little bit of time with Tom from Supercoach Mates this week. I know, Janath, you talked some Carlton, Spills some Essendon, as well as some Supercoach. So, Tommy, thanks for inviting us on, mate. Had a ripping time. If you haven't checked them out yet, make sure you check out Supercoach Mates.
Get around them.
Yeah, awesome bloke and great crew there. So thanks very much for your support, as always, guys. Round reviews, bit of a head wobble for DR. I think it's been a long time since I've been top of the pot here, boys, for the week. But Spilsy, you're on the left there, mate. So we'll start off with you. We're going to go rapid fire, mate. But tell us about your round this week. Look at that overall rank, son. Knew you'd come home with a bit of a wet sail.
He's coming.
It's coming. Yeah, it's coming. Had another really good week. So, yeah, 2 great weeks in a row. Last week, I got 17 out of 17 league wins. This week, it was 16 out of 17, and you'll never guess who I lost to. So, yeah. DR, too good, mate. Too good. That was, I think we were pretty on par because, well, I had, just looking over it now, I think I had Darcy Jones on field, and then you obviously had a bit of a mare with the captaincy, but it could have been a lot worse, to be fair.
Bang.
That's not a drive-by. I'm not trying to do a drive-by here. I'm just saying like I think we both sort of had a couple of areas of weakness, and
No, you're right, mate. Yeah.
Yeah. So we both pretty similar scores, obviously. Yeah, I did have the C on Neil as well, so got pretty fortunate there. And yeah, all in all, pretty solid week. Avoided a lot of the carnage too. Yeah, plenty of absolute carnage. I only had 2 injuries, or Henny and Gorn. So, but yeah, Matt Rao was the big letdown. So yeah, so compare the pair there. That's not great. That's really bad. So yeah, when I trade him in, boys, 129 average. Since I've owned him, 86. I tweeted this today, and 5-round average of 77. So I'm really looking forward to getting rid of him this week. We'll talk about that later. You will try to talk me out of that. There's no doubt about it. But and going down to 0 trades, pretty scary. But I can't be bothered with Matt Rao anymore, boys. But we'll get into that later, boys. Good week all in all, and I think we can come home pretty strong. What about yourself, DR? How'd you go, mate?
Yeah, look, not too bad, Spillsy. Look, for anyone that's not aware, let's just address the elephant in the room. I completely stuffed my captaincy loophole this week, and I'm blaming it on the boys from Dr. Supercoach because I did have the Dr. Supercoach catch-up on the weekend, on the Saturday. So I went down to Melbourne and met all the crew there, just awesome bunch of blokes, talked all about it in Moran Review. But I was chatting with another awesome bloke by the name of Declan, who runs a Supercoach channel, Super Bro. So make sure that you do check out him. Really ripping human he is. And so we're talking about what our teams are looking like and all the rest, captaincy. And he's like, "Oh, show us what your team's looking like." I give him a phone, and the bloke almost goes white. I'm like, "What's happening here?" He's not keen on keeping the fish or something like that. And he's like, "Bro, what have you done?" And I'm like, gives him on my phone, and I've realised, and I'm actually watching this game at the moment, that I've actually VC'd Sarong into Dogger somehow. And I've been saying to everyone, I'm going zeroed into Neil, my boy Chocky, gonna kill it. 140 plus against West
We're all going to VC merit.
Oh man, it wasn't. I was meant to, right? So I didn't back out on the brothership there. It was a complete stuff up, right? But did I look like a genius at 3/4 time? The boys are getting around me like DR. He's just, the goat. You know, he doesn't even need to have a proper VC. He just went with Dogger, and he did bugger all in the last quarter. But all in all, boys, in the top 450 now, so 439 for an overall rank, but would have been inside the top 400 if I hadn't have stuffed up that Dogger move. So frustrating when you can control the things that you stuff up. Injuries and concussions you can't, but these sort of things you can. Disappointing, but not complaining with the rank at the end of the day. Janath, how about yourself, brother?
Oh, very quickly, I think I'm going in the opposite direction to you boys. Like I was saying last week, it was just absolute carnage trying to navigate Took, Gorn, Heaney, McGovern, Mission One Fisher, all of them missing. So I was going to cop a donut. But I thought that long-term, the move would be okay to go Fisher to McKercher. Brought him in. McKercher didn't set the world on fire, but it wasn't really expected against Sydney. I did pull the Miller to Jackson move, and Dogger did come through. So it was okay. But I guess last week was really about damage limitation because, look, there's doing so much work and then losing that in 1 week. That's why I just didn't take the donut. I thought the long-term, the McKercher move should be okay. Let's hope it is. But look at you, DR. This is going to be a good fight to the finish here. Within 24 points for each other. I've held strong all season. Let's see if we can hold you off here. But look, Spills, you're coming like a wet sail. It was really tough week last week because I only had one score above 120. So whoever I captained, it would have been no good. But guess who that 120 was? Our boy, the butcher, Nicky Martin.
Wow, hey. Didn't see that coming.
The tables have turned.
Oh, and for those that benched him for Humphrey's score, that would have hurt, wouldn't it? And I wouldn't have blamed people, right? The bloke's been doing nothing. And
George has copped it all week for doing that.
JD's
been all over him. Yeah, so he actually he did it with Houston. So yeah, he chucked Houston on the bench for
Humphrey, and a very big shout out to Billy Dowling, the rookie savior. I think he clutched up big time. 101, massive fourth quarter. So yeah, let's see how we go this week. Hopefully the carnage stops here, but her and murmurs of a Jai Caldwell test. So let's hope that's not legitimate.
Should I even mention the poo at this stage? Ouch! I won't even go there because that talk about pain, you wouldn't believe it. But boys, top of the pod, it's getting a little bit closer now, to be honest. So. Janath, obviously number one there, mate. 39,585. I am getting a little bit closer
I mean-
here, mate, at 39,561. And Spilsy, 39,078. But, mate, inside the top 2,500 now. And Janath, both of us in the top 500 for now. So congratulations, boys. Pretty solid seasons to date. Hopefully we can finish off nice and strong.
Brilliant.
But that's it. All the nonsense out of the way. Let's get into the meat of this podcast. And I'm about to introduce a bloke that you see here on the screen. And I tell you what, boys, you know how long I've been playing Supercoach for? A long, long time. You call me the old man and give me crap for all this, this and that, right? But the bloke that you're about to meet is a very beloved member of the Supercoach community. But if I think back, probably the bloke that I've known the longest that plays Supercoach. We met on supercoachtalk.com, a fantastic community there for years and years. And it is the great man, Catta. So we're going to get him on the screen now. And I'll tell you what, super, super excited again to invite this legend on. So, Catta, thank you very much for joining us, mate. How are you, my friend?
G'day, gents. Absolute pleasure to be on. And I do watch his each week, so I do feel a touch starstruck at the moment. But in saying that, I feel like I've got to know you guys over the last couple of years since I stumbled across the podcast. And I must admit, the three of you guys together, you've got a great mix. You come from different walks of life, just your attitudes towards each other. You do take the piss out of each other, but you have a laugh. And I think that's one of the biggest things that I enjoy on a weekly basis. And one of the things I find really, really, warranted to bring up is that I've got a 12-year-old that's right into Supercoach. He doesn't play footy. He does karate and swimming, and he's very good at those things. But he gets to watch your podcast every week because you don't swear. And look, each to their own with podcasts. If they want to swear and be that type of podcast, good on them. I actually watch one every week that they swear a lot in it, and I have a laugh, but I obviously listen to that in the car. But I thank you for my 12-year-old because he just loves watching you three guys. And, he brings up, have you spoken to DR? Have you spoken to Janath? Have you seen Spills? Have you done that? And I'm like, mate, I don't know these guys. I just watch them every week. So it's just refreshing to jump onto a podcast where you guys just don't need, the swearing and carrying on like fools to get the followers you do get. And I know you get a lot of followers, and even watching YouTube, the amount of people that watch you guys, it's testament to yourselves. So keep up the great work.
I've been close. Been very close to swearing, to be fair, the last couple of weeks, particularly with Matt Rowell. So I've been trying to keep my cool, but it hasn't been easy, Catta, I'll tell you that.
We really appreciate that, Catta. That means the world to us, really.
Absolutely. And a big shout out to Nate as well. Mate, you are, when it comes to karate, elite and right up there with the best of the best for your age. So thank you very much for tuning in, mate. And isn't it great to see that the younger generation are getting into Supercoach? I think that's absolutely fantastic, Catta. What a fantastic role model you are, my friend. Now, Catta, we're going to get into this, mate. So, look, we know you've been playing for a very, very long time now. The both of us have. But tell us about season 2024, mate. How are you tracking so far? And how many trades do you have left up your sleeve to manage potentially some more carnage in the coming weeks, mate?
Yeah, so look, it's been an interesting season, to be honest. And just seeing what's happened in the last week or so, it just shows you that keeping those trades up your sleeve till the end is quite rewarding. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. Like even last year, I was like you, D. I was left with the boost. So I learnt from last season as well. But this season, after round one, I was 11,478th, which was a pretty reasonable start. I think I started about 50,000th last year. But by round 15 and after the buys, I got down to my best rank for the year of 1,779th, which was a task that I'd set myself to be in the top 2,000 after the buys because I was around 5,000. So I wanted to at least cut that in half. And
Beautiful.
Currently I'm 2,277th. But yeah, still wanting to track to about top 1K. I've helped a few of the past winners like Supercoach Mama and JP. Like I've been involved with those guys and even a couple of other guys that finished top 10 over the years and been in chats with them. So it's just great to be behind the community and getting advice from everyone because not that you're going to take it all on board, but just the smartest person in the world is the one with the most information. So if you listen to podcasts or listen to, people that could be 50,000, that doesn't matter. They could give you an idea that you had no idea about, and it triggers you off to a trade you might not have even thought about. So, I always sort of sit back and think with rank, you got to set yourself a realistic task, but I think you ought to pick the right rookies at the start of the season to try and give yourself to be in that top 20,000 at the start, just so you can sort of start chipping away at that rank and try and get to where your goal is. And your goal might be 10,000, your goal might be 1,000. Everyone's different, but I like to get to top 1,000, and I've been lucky in the last 10 years to have, I think it's one ranking in the top 100, 3 in the top 1,000, 2 in the top 5,000, and 3 in the top 10,000. So in the last 10 years, I've had basically 9 seasons where I finished in the top 10K, and only once I finished about 30,000th because I had a 7-week holiday in America with the kids and went to Disneyland. Mrs. was into me. Every time I was on my phone, she was into me saying, "Are you on that bloody Supercoach?" I'm like, "No, honey, I'm just checking out the rides for tomorrow at Disneyland. It's okay." But that wasn't the case. I was sneaking on there and checking how things were going.
I love it, mate. I absolutely love it. No surprise that again this year you're currently sitting at a very, very solid rank, mate. And as I said, you've just been such a crucial member of the community. And I know you're someone I go to advice with as well, and I'm desperate as well, mate. So very, very much appreciated, mate. And very quickly, thinking all the way back to your starting team, mate, how about one starting pick that you've absolutely loved, and then followed by, we'll turn the tables, one starting pick that you regret that you'd love to take back?
Okay, so I'm not going to go into a long story because, as you can tell, I can talk underwater with a mouthful of marbles. So I've got to keep
I love it, mate.
So look, my starting pick's a little left centre. I thank Cohen Livingston. I think Cohen Livingston has been my number one pick as ruck 3. And the reason why I say that is I've used him 8 times as a VC loop. So I thank him very much for his services. And on top of that, he's looked after me with the Maxi situation in the last couple of weeks. Although Maxi's a test this week, I'm not overly confident he will come back. So I feel that Cohen Livingston is going to help me once again. So as a starting pick, little left centre, he'd have to be my number one pick in my opinion.
Love it. Outside the box. I was not expecting that one, mate. I was thinking which ultra premium, which elite is he going with? Yeah, but that goes to show, mate, how important the strategy side of the game is, doesn't it, when you're picking someone like a Livingston?
And I'll just jump in here, and I think that one of the key decisions which we were all facing at the start of the year is go the Livingston way or the Naismith way. And the people that went the Naismith way, they have to trade out Naismith to get a money-making R3, whereas those that had the Livingston, yes, he was probably never going to play, but you can just move in between lines. You can do what Catta does, VC. So it's like, it's really good to have that ruck forward DPP at R3 just whenever. Have that security blanket.
Look, I will give a special mention to Brodie Grundy. Like, to be honest, like I was always trading Brodie Grundy out, I think, round 5 to get onto English. But I think I had a little issue going on in the team, and I thought, I better hold him. So there was definitely an element of luck there why I held Grundy. But I got Grundy at 481,900 as a starting price. He's averaged 113.7. I've got to be honest, if you could play every game at the SCG, you'd be ruck 1 in the competition by miles. Yeah. But, that's a special mention to Brodie Grundy, but he's quite a distance behind Cohen Livingston as my best starting pick for sure.
Love it. And Catta was actually smart enough to keep on to Brodie, unlike a few of us that said goodbye and hello again to
all
Nick
of us
Martin.
I think all of us did. Was it all of us that did?
Wouldn't that be lovely to have that one back?
The ones that have the podcast. Unbelievable.
Exactly right. Talking about having one back, Catta, how about that one that you possibly regret starting in your side this year, mate? Is there anyone, or was it pretty solid?
Yeah, look, we've always got 2 or 3 that we sit back and go, why? Why did we do that? Look, I'm not a big fan of the Cats. Like 1989, 2008, it goes back a fair while for me, and I'm lucky enough to go to I've been to 8 grand finals and won 7 of the 8. So I'm extremely spoilt when it comes to football. And I hear other supporters talk about football, and I know I'm very spoiled, and I'm trying to keep a lid on it this year. But watching these young kids, I'm starting to get a bit excited. And after beating a top 4 team last week, I thought, you know what, maybe I'll just take the lid off. You know, at the end of the day, they've done probably better than what I expected. But look, getting back to my starting pick that I didn't think I should have done. He's a Cats player, and his name's Tom Stewart. And one of the biggest problems that I've got with picking Tom Stewart is after I started to crunch the numbers, he made my starting team over Luke Ryan. Now, Luke Ryan being an ex-Hawk, I love Luke Ryan. You know, although the Hawks didn't have a spot for him and he got taken by Fremantle, and he's done very well over there. One of the things that really annoys me is that if I had started Ryan and then picked Tom Stewart up like I picked up Luke Ryan later on for 666,000. Thank you very much for your, for nothing. Seriously, like he's just fallen in a hole since. But anyway, Tom Stewart. If I had have not got Tom Stewart and got Luke Ryan, and then did it in reverse and got Tom Stewart at round 15 when he was 461,000, I would have been 521 points better off than what I am now, and that would have currently put me at top 370. That annoys me because I made that decision myself. I heard several people talk up Tom Stewart being the potentially the number one defensive player premium, and I sat back and thought, I love Luke Ryan. Will he get that seagull role? Not sure. There's a few down there. I'll go with Tom Stewart at $635,000. So I struggle to say that, and he got down to $461,000. And the fact is, he's had 470s, 160s, an 80, and he's just starting to come good playing this mid role. So I'm glad I've held him, and hopefully he repays those who, like me, started him at the start of the season and watched him dwindle away to 461,000, and now playing a midfield role. And I think he's averaging about 104, 105 in his last 3. So I'm hoping that he comes good for those who have held him.
Yeah, you deserve it, mate. Just like LDU with Janath when he was botting me out, people getting rid of him, held the faith. So I'm hoping that Tommy can do a bit of an LDU for you, mate, because you absolutely deserve it. Now, we've still got a few weeks to go to the end of this season, but you know what we're like here, mate? We're always looking ahead into the future, into 2025. Is there someone that you can say right here, right now, that I'm going to lock in my side next year? Is there one player that you're already locking in right now? Throw away the keys now, Catta.
As you can, again, talk underwater with the mouth full of marbles. I could not just put it as one. I've got 2, sorry. Apologies for picking 2, but I'll be quick. Will Day from the Hawks, he's in straight away. He's his pre-season was unfortunately cut short. You've seen the difference in the Hawks since he's come back in. He is unbelievable. And I can see him as being potentially a top 10, top 12 midfielder next year. And I'm always a bit reluctant to pick the Hawks players, being a Hawks supporter. I've never been a big fan of picking them because I don't want to dislike them. Watching them picking my own team players, they get a 70 and I'm like, I don't like you anymore. Get out of my team. I don't want to have that attitude, but unfortunately it's never escaped me. I've always been like that with the Hawks. And the other player is Max Holmes. I love the way he goes about it. He has got so much more to give. He plays for the Nemesis. He plays for the Cats, who I'm not a big fan of, as I've already stated, but he is phenomenal. And I just can see him taking it to the next level next year. So I couldn't split Will Day or Max Holmes. So sorry, guys. I gave you two for being my locks for 2025.
Do not be sorry, mate, because will be next-gen pod-type picks. They're the type of picks that I love hearing, mate. Not the old Bonds and Gorn and this and that.
We want them.
Will Day and Maxi Holmes.
Catta, very quick question. Yes or no answer here. Is Will Day your next captain?
Yes.
I like it. I think he's got leadership all over him. Kids are going.
We've got to lock him away because South Australian teams are going to be chasing him really, really heavily. I don't know if you saw the footy show last Sunday, but he was on with the handball with Weddle. And watching these kids grow up, watching them having 20, 30 games between them, they're becoming best mates. They're all on the technology with the GoPros and stuff like that. Ginnivan's probably got something to do with that, but that's okay. But the beauty is watching these players, 30, 40 games between them each, then you get them playing 40, 50 games. I've always been a fan of 2025 because I feel we're going to be playing finals. But Will Day is one of those kids that not only talks extremely well, but he lets his actions do the talking. And I think that's definitely strong traits as a captain.
Massive. Yeah.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. Now, we are about to get into 3 questions here for the mailbag for you this week, Catta. But very quickly, mate, before we get into these questions, are there any lessons learned? So have you got one lesson in particular that you've learned through playing Supercoach in 2024? Because as we know, mate, it's been a bit of a different beast, extra trades, round 0, 2 buys to deal with. Anything that you've learned in particular so far that really stands out to you, mate?
Look, over 15 plus years of playing Supercoach, the number one thing I say to myself every year is just trust your gut. Like I know football pretty well. I couldn't play it a lot when I was younger because sadly I have white line fever. I can't help myself, and football just wasn't my game. So I went to cricket and was lucky enough to go over to England and play a bit of cricket in the 90s. But in saying that, with football, I just did not have. I just got shitty too. Like I was a tagger, and I'd tag players, and I'd rough them up, and I'd do the thing. As soon as they did it to me, that was it. So I thought, footy's not my game. Obviously, get out of it. So trusting my gut is something that I've got to be better at. I say it to myself every year, and then 3 weeks ago, I had the chance of picking Caldwell or Curnow, a key position forward. And what did this dunce do? He picked Curnow. I've never picked a key position forward. I don't know. Like. The noise on X, the noise in chats, the noise everywhere. Looking at his fixture, like he's going to go all right. He's going to kick 3 or 4 bags to finish it. And he wants another Coleman. So I get him the first week. He gets 118. I'm like, oh, hold on, Catta, you're onto something here. And then the next few weeks, I hit behind the couch watching.
I think we have a bit of a part. We have a bit of a part to play in that as well because, like, it's just one of those things that at the end of the day. We ourselves make our decisions as well, Kat. It's so hard just really backing in your gut and sort of getting rid of that. I think a lot of it's FOMO as well. Like when you're picking a pod player, but you don't want to miss out on the popular pick that week. Oh, what if they go good? And then you've got 2 players you need to monitor how they're going. And the number of variables keep adding up and up when you don't back your gut in. I think that's a tough part of that as well.
Yeah, totally agree. Like, I hear people on a weekly basis say, oh, I'm not going to listen to podcasts. I'm not listening to content created. I think the smartest Supercoacher listens to as much information as they can, and then they filter it into their own team because we're all different. We're all different beasts when we play Supercoach. So I might like one podcast where someone might dislike that one. I actually, are you okay if I mention a couple of podcasts on here, guys? If I
100%, yeah. Go for it.
I just wanted to double check. So in the car, I love listening to Supercoach Elites. Like Corey and Bomps just give each other that much grief. I feel that they swear too much for my kid to listen to it, but I have a bit of a laugh, and they can play, and they play good Supercoach. Like, to be quite honest, they play good Supercoach, but they play for league as well. So it's not important for them to finish top 5K, but geez, they love giving each other, dirt on each other's team and picks and stuff like that. And I have a bit of a laugh with that. And then obviously Dr. Supercoach, they're mesmerizing to listen to. Like I just. You went to some get together last week, DR. I would have been kicking back and just listening to these guys chat about the way they about it. Yeah. And like they're all just pure. They seem like all pure gentlemen, and they all seem like footy nuffies that just love the game. And I enjoy listening to them every couple of weeks. I don't get the chance to listen to them every week, but every couple of weeks, and I enjoy every moment of it when they're chatting and listening to. Like, I haven't heard enough of Chizo this year. He was always one of my favourites, but I think his mate's taken over this year, and I sit back and love all of them that are on there. But they really put out some great intel, just behind you guys, of course. Like, you guys are definitely top.
Oh, no, you're too kind. No, look, they are genuinely ripping humans. All four of them. They did not disappoint, mate. And that's the best thing about it. They're not just great content, but they're ripping blokes as well. First thing, like when I saw Pistols, how are you, mates? Heard you're in hospital. How's your young fella and all the rest? So it wasn't even Supercoach I went straight to, mate. It was about the family. So goes to show a lot. So thank you very much for those two recommendations, mate. Now, Catta, I'm going to go straight to the middle question here because I think you've already actually answered this one, mate. If we didn't know that any of your responses to these questions, we've got Katie Bloom. Hello, Katie. Hello, darlings. Do you think Will Day will be a good starting pick next year? This season not going well, so doing some early planning.
Yeah,
is Katie.
Well, Katie sounds like she has a fairly good nous about her in regards to Supercoach, because I genuinely think he's going to be a pivotal part of most people's teams next year. We've seen a big change in the team itself in the last 7-8 weeks, maybe even 9 weeks since he got back from injury. And the way he goes about it, I can see him being a 110 plus player next season. So Katie's 100% correct in my opinion.
Beautiful. On the ball there, Katie. Nice work, mate. Thank you for your question. We'll go up to the top now. Silver Top Hurley. G'day, mate. What's one thing you would like to see change? So you would like to see changed to make the post buys more interesting for Supercoach? Seems once our teams are full primo and out of trades, it's just luck and cross your fingers. So, mate, anything off the top of your head that you can think the boys at the top of the Herald Sun there can do to engage people throughout the latter stages, like let's say the last 6-7 weeks of the season, mate?
Yeah, I actually have always thought that when it gets closer towards the last 6 weeks, there's quite a lot of players, maybe from 50,000 on, I don't know, but they start to drop away, and obviously the dead team numbers start to grow. So why not add some sort of a system? And I don't know how hard this would be, but if I hold my trades, but I need a couple of $100,000, I'm happy to do a bit of a trade-off and a barter system with someone else if they want to give me a trade, not giving them a couple of
someone else.
Wow.
I'm more than happy to
have
a bit of a chat with them in regards to doing that, but it's a trade-off. You can only do it once, not as if you can do it multiple times, but just once you can go and do that. So if you're smart enough to hold trades, and then let's say a trade's worth $250, that's just throwing out a figure. If someone's got $250K in the bank, but they're down on trades because they've gone, super, hard at their trades start of the season to keep top 1K rank or top 500 rank, whatever it may be. Well, I've got some money. You've got a trade. How about we talk about doing a barter system and swapping a trade for $250K?
I love it.
Love it. How's that? A bit of a barter system here. You've got something. I've got something. Let's work out a deal. Love it, mate. Thinking outside the box again, Catta. Last one here, mate. Zacharuni. G'day, Zacharuni. Chaps, do you reckon the fish comes straight back into his previous designated kicker role this week? I'm counting on him going back to his rubbish scoring from the start of the year because I traded him to Kirch. Well, I'm absolutely against you, Zach. Don't bloody
I'm with you, Zach.
Mate.
I'm with you, Zach.
Bugger off, Janath. You and Zach go get stuff, mate. What are you
Steels is with us as well, mate. He traded him out as well.
Yeah. No, I got him Caldwell, so I'm pretty wrapped with it. It doesn't bother me too much.
I'll bug his all then. Each and every one of his them. Catta, your thoughts, mate. Do you think the fish can come back in to that lucrative role, or do you think that the Kirch may have his hands on that at the moment, mate? What do you reckon?
Look, I'm not going to be biased because I held him, but in saying that, like, he got 27, 28 touches in the seconds, and we all know that that's a massive step down. Seconds to AFL, it's nowhere near the same type of quality of football. 27 is a pretty reasonable number, though, and the Kangas copped a smacking. So having their coach for many, many years at my football club, I know that he's fairly stubborn, and if a player doesn't come in, there's generally a reason why he hasn't come in. It's because there's either an oversaturation of that type of player already in the team, and I think Kirch is that particular player who's come back, and although he had a bit of a quieter game. I think he sat on the bench for about 7 or 8 minutes in the last quarter for some reason. I don't know why, but he seemed to sit on the bench quite a lengthy period in that last quarter. So I don't know if he pissed Clarko off for not doing something that he might have set him out to do. But I feel Fisher's got the right to come in. I think he's done pretty well for the season, and we all know he's injury prone, but he's not injured. He played in the VFL, so I feel he deserves to come back in. He proved himself in the seconds in the one game that he wasn't picked in the AFL when he was available. So I believe he deserves that role, and his disposal efficiency is pretty reasonable. So I think that can only enhance Sakanga's ability to finish the season strong. So I hope he comes back, and if he doesn't, I'm going to trade his ass out this week.
I'm with you, mate. I'm absolutely with you, Catta. Absolutely with you. And I tell you what a man to get in for these 3 questions here. Catta, I might just take a week off every Tuesday when it comes to the mailbag, mate. You can take my spot, I think, because that was absolutely fantastic, mate. Great detail, thinking outside the box. And that question from Katie was just meant to be for you, I think, tonight, mate. So, Janath, Spills, sorry, I've absolutely taken over this one with Catta here, but he is a very old mate of mine. And, mate, it is such a pleasure and an honor to finally sit down with you, mate. And have a good chat about Supercoach. You're a ripping bloke. I know that many people appreciate you in the community. All the years back there at Supercoach Talk, now on to places like X in particular. I'm in some great chats with you as well, mate. So, Catta, thank you so much again for coming on, mate. And all the best luck for the season, my friend.
Thanks again for the opportunity to come on, guys. I genuinely appreciate all the hard work and detailed work that you all put in every week. Third Man Up has become one of my favourite handles as well. So absolute congratulations to both Janath and Roscoe for building that up. And I only just realised in the last couple of weeks I wasn't even following you, Spills. That is absolutely disrespectful of me, so I apologise.
Nah, no hard feelings, mate. That's fine, mate.
I'm not a big follower of people. I genuinely just don't have time to watch the ongoing conversations or ongoing tweets, all that sort of stuff. So I've never been one to follow a stack of people, and it's not because I'm disrespectful. I don't want to miss things. So if I follow a certain amount, I don't miss things on my timeline. But you guys just do so much for the community, and I know that the people I chat to about this particular podcast, I would be very surprised if people don't put it in the top, if not the top 2 or 3 that's on the YouTube channels. And you all 3.
Cheers, legend. That's awesome.
You're very respectable guys. And as I said before, you just do a great job, and the detail that you put into it every week is all deserve a pat on the back. So thanks again for having me on, and I really appreciate the work you do behind the scenes for everyone in the community.
No, good on you, mate.
Thank you very, very much, mate. That's why we love this great man, isn't it? That's why we love it. And Swordplay beanie on and everything. And Catta, finally, mate, all the best to your young fella Nate as well. All the best with the karate going forward. And yeah, what a little legend he is. You must be a very proud man, mate. So cheers again, mate. Love it to have you on, and look forward to the next one. Cheers, Catta.
Cheers guys. Good on you and your family. Bye. Take care.
I'll tell you what. Now we talk about having some absolute legends on here. How good was that? Now, Spilsy, you're about to introduce the next legend that we've got on the channel now.
I am, mate. Yep. So yeah, we got those you don't know. So yeah, Jules, Crazy Frog. Yeah, very, very good super coacher. Someone that really knows his stuff. So I could be mistaken. It might have been 2021. He was leading Supercoach for quite a long period there. So yeah, he's no stranger to the game, and it's an absolute pleasure to have him on the podcast once and for all. If you're with us, George, welcome to the pod, mate. And how you doing?
Hey, hello, everybody. Yeah, I'm good, guys.
Here he is.
Love it. How's your
going well?
Yeah, very well, mate. How are you doing? How's your season been so far, mate? Where are you ranked, and how many trades have you got in the bank, mate?
My season has been up and down like all the time. I started 60K down the bottom. I went up to 17K just before the buy, and post buy I was 10K finally. and then I fluctuate between 5 and 10k. So that's a bit
Yeah.
annoying, but that's the way, just have one trade left. And I think my dream of 1k is gone, unfortunately. So we'll have to focus on my work league to beat my colleagues and take back my trophy.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Well, obviously, if you've jumped up the ranks in the last couple of months, as you've just touched on. So, who's one starting pick that you've loved in particular that's, I suppose, helped you get to where you are now? And it's not over yet; still a long time in the season for you to keep pushing up those ranks. But name one in particular that's really been impressive for your squad, mate.
If I have to name one, I will say Matt Crouch, because he was a POD. He was starting on fire. He was one of the mid-prize that finally work, better than the wines and others. But the one I really love that I started is Isaac Rankin. I started it.
That's huge, mate.
Pod. I knew it would be a pod.
It was me who started it, but I traded him out round 5. And I was dreaming, come on, to get some midfield time. Let's go, Nick. And I traded him out. But it was, I still love watching him anyway. So
Jules, just very quickly, how many trades have you spent on Rankin this year?
Hey, just one. Question. I didn't bring him in.
You didn't bring him back in?
Discipline. No,
that's good.
Yeah, I did. I did enough mistake with bringing him back. McKercher, Fisher, Aiden Young, all these birds, Nick Martin, but
not Rankin.
Not Rankin. And every year.
Oh, no.
Fair enough.
Yeah, you know me. Every year I try to have a spicy team at the start. Last year I started, I think, Will Brody, and the year before Justin McInerney. I feel they always failed. This crazy never work.
But you love it. You have fun with the game, Jules. And what I love about the way that you trade is that you look so outside the box. It's not funny. And that's what makes it fun. And that's what you can do, mate, to either make or break your team. And I just love that you just send it, mate. You just go for it. Don't care what anyone else is doing. Now, I'm sticking my gut. I'm going with a pod. And he's going to make or break me, but it's a free game. I love it. And whatever happens, happens. So love your attitude towards the game, I mean.
I probably should have touched on that at the start of introducing Jules, because something that he does very well is he doesn't, if he believes the pick's going to work, he's backing himself in. He's not going to listen to anyone else or be told how to play the game. So I absolutely love that. And Matt Crouch, mate, that's a really good starting pick. I wish I started him over Ollie Wines. That very, very neck and neck at the time, and Crouch clearly the better pick out of the bunch. But obviously touched on how he started over round 0, over round 1. So who was a big candidate for why it went so badly, and who was a starting pick that you tend to regret, mate?
Well, I will say I will take a Brisbane Lions, who really pissed me off the full year. It's Jared Lyons.
Jared Lyons.
I started him. He played one game, and then he was dropped, and then he was back as a sub, and then he was dropped again. Oh man, this was a long journey.
Yeah, you hate that so much.
And Nat 5 as well. Nat 5 was not bad at the start, but I hold him too long. Lost some value, dropped some bad scores, but
No, at least with 5, I feel like everyone sort of had him. He was 40% or something, but with Lions in particular, he was a huge pod. He wouldn't have been 2%, I'm pretty sure, and for that to go bad would have been really quite frustrating to watch. And
it was,
So you
had a low break even, staying on my bench, ready to fire up.
Yeah. It's so hard to know what to do, isn't it? You just leave them on there because just hoping they're going to get a game. It's hopefully soon. It gets to that point though where you've got to. Are they actually getting back? Yeah, it's so hard to move someone on with such a low break even, Jules. Super frustrating, brother.
Definitely is, mate. All right, so next year, lessons learned. So who's one starting lock for next year that you just can't see not being in your side in 2025?
Yeah, so I think I would say three vanilla players. I will say easily I will start Chisel, Flanders, and Dacos. No brainer.
Nice.
100%.
But
Nice.
But the one I would like to start next year is Bailey Smith, Mr.
Bailey
Bazlenka. If he's not a dog, he needs to go elsewhere.
Nice.
You know.
I don't think he will be. So yeah, he'll be a big lock.
Jules, because you're on here. Come on, mate. Those are too vanilla for us. Come on, mate. Load us up a pod for next year. Come on.
Some spicy. Yeah, let's hear it.
Give us one.
what about Mr. Oliver? If he's got a full preseason?
There we go.
Here we go.
Mind it.
Here we go. Yeah. Get a bit of Clary in
Oliver. Yeah,
yep,
Clary,
love it,
Clary should be back. Good full preseason, and off we go. Everybody will forget him, and bang. That's the plan.
No, I like
the crazy frog's gonna jump on. Love it.
I like it. I like the Oliver pick for
needs
next
a full
year.
Preseason. That's the main thing.
He does need a full preseason. That's where we got it wrong this year. I had Oliver for a long time, and I decided to get rid of him because he was fake primo. But then I overlooked Matt Rao instead. So I wish I held on to Oliver over Matt Rao. But that's another story, and that's a lesson that I definitely learned. But Jules, what's a lesson learned from 2024 that you sort of set in your ways? You're not going to do it come next year, and something that you really learn from through this year?
Yep. So I think with a new format of having more buy rounds, I think the formula that works really well this year was guns and rookies, because with many best 18 players, it was really important to have got the big guns playing instead of many mid-pricers like I did. That's definitely a watch for next year. I don't know what will be the schedule of games. But I think I need to, control myself and start with no pod or nobody spicy. Really, it works for me in 2021 when I was ranked number 1 for the first 3 rounds.
Yep.
And starting with a good team was a huge advantage. Like in 21, my worst rank was 500, and I was still top 50 during the buy. So.
Yep.
So yeah, the starting team is very important. So POD will have to wait for the buy, I think. Start easy, pick the very common players, and enjoy the trading from the buy.
No, absolutely, man. Cannot argue with that at all. Now, before we go into these Q&A questions that we'll get you to answer, by the way, mate, probably should have touched on that at the start. We're going to put you right in the spotlight, mate. You will be answering these 2 questions here. So before we do that, what's some general feedback that you like to give back from the Swordplay podcast? Because clearly you've been a massive spectator for a long time, and feels like I've known you forever on Twitter. So after watching us and DR for all these sort of years, Janath as the last couple of years now, what's something that you like to set some sort of feedback for us, mate?
Yeah, so you guys provide a lot of good info, a lot of good banter. It's really nice to listen your big hour or 2 of podcast every week. I really enjoy it. Just one thing maybe for you, Spills and DR, be harder on Janath. He's too good. You guys are too gentle. He has a cracking year. He's traveling to Europe. He doesn't care. The trades are working well. Everything is so nice. He holds LDU. Come on, guys, be harder.
He's copped it. He's copped it last week. He's had 5 of those.
Week.
5 of the 6 out.
All right, Jules. I can absolutely deliver on that, mate.
I'll take your advice there. That might be the best advice.
All right.
I love
Jules. I thought we were friends.
DR, mate.
It would be like shooting Bambi, wouldn't it? Like giving them bad feedback. It's like
DR, I loved Catta's advice. I thought it was very insightful, but this is some good advice as well. So yeah, it's great to hear it from
this is
the
what I
guests.
love. You look at Catta, who we've just had on. You look at Jules now, and the way that they play the game, their love of the game is absolutely 100%. But the way and there's strategies behind the game, very, very different in itself. And that's the great thing about the game of Supercoach. Different strokes for different folks. The guns and rookies, the mid-price madness, people that go aggressive, people that just play a little bit more safe. That's the great thing about this game, all the different ways of playing. There's no right way to play absolutely every year because the game's changing, as Jules has just said. Then extra trades and Lots of people are taking more of a fantasy style approach to their trading and being a lot more aggressive now. So very, very good point that you touched on there, Jules. Absolutely, mate.
No, good stuff, Jules. We had big expectations for him coming on, and he's absolutely delivered. So good stuff there. Before we let you go, Jules, so we'll let you answer these questions. So Causa, massive regular, DR's regular subscription.
Ladies man.
I'm so not used to introducing the questions that I've absolutely forgot his nickname that I was there for when he got. And he was the ladies man on the night. There is no doubt about that. So Causa, hey legends, thoughts on Zach Reed for Filippo? 2 trades to run home and try and win my league for bench cover.
Don't do that.
Evans in defence, Dowling and Humphreys in the midfield, and Kruger for ruck ball cover. Jules,
can I change it? Can I change your question? Maybe let's go Mana, because Philippou's gone, right? Unfortunately, Causa is gone for, was it 3-4 weeks, which it hurts so many people. I legitimately, Janath and I were saying pre-podcast, we feel terrible for people, even though we haven't got him. It's just super bad luck.
Pick.
But I reckon Sean Mana is probably the other bloke, maybe around that price, mate. Even got some DPP there as well. So let's change this. I don't even know if Causa's got Mana. I assume he doesn't. Let's change this to Mana. So any thoughts on someone like a Sean Mana type pick, Jules?
Well, it really depends also on the ranking. If Causa is in the top 4, top 8, he doesn't need to do any trades. Just chill out, take it easy, use your trade when the final arrive. But if he is like 9th or 10th, just bring a Mana. Yeah, it's a good idea. He's got DPP. He's a good player. Got some midfield time. Yeah, go for it.
Great advice there, mate.
Beautiful, mate.
Stuff,
absolutely.
Mate. I've got another one here. Too much sauce. Don't mind it. Any concerns for Caldwell owners with this potential injury scare? What should we do if he does miss a game?
Just quickly, Spills, just to provide the update what the injury scare is. So he had his calf wrapped up with like a sock or something at training and didn't participate fully in main training.
It's just the first time hearing of this,
got
by
any
the way.
medical supplies, bloody calf wrapped around in a sock. Come on, boy.
We use other.
I think it was compression. It looked like a sock though. But he's not listed on the injury report or anything, so may just be murmurs going around. Let's hope he gets up. But if he does get up, what would you do, Jules?
Yeah,
if he doesn't get up,
maybe it will be managed just 1 week. So just a hold, definitely hold. He's a top 6 forward, so yeah.
I would basically taking the words out of my mouth. So that's about it, mate. You've done really well coming on, and we love having you on the potty. We'd probably want to have you on another time because that's the best drive by Janath. I was not expecting that. I was grouse. You've done really good, mate.
Think about me when you were watching St Kilda, because I took Mason Woods last week for Fisher. Everybody was bringing Luke Jackson, and I said, come on, Luke Jackson, it's too safe, too fun. Mason Woods, mate, he scored a 50 last week.
Mason Wood was a great pod for me in draft last year, so I won't fault you with that one.
Yeah, so was Sam Petrevsky Seaton that you got up at 4 o'clock in the morning for, mate, wasn't he?
There we go.
People don't forget. DR's kept his receipts on this one. Well done, brother.
Was it something like that?
3 a.m. on a Tuesday morning. Nothing better to do.
Yeah.
Jules, thanks for coming on, mate. We really appreciate your time.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Keep the good work. Really good stuff. And hope the rest of the season's kind to you and you keep charging up those ranks, brother. So well done, mate.
Thank you.
Cheers, mate.
Good on you, Jules, and cannot wait to have you back again soon, my friend. All the best to your family, mate. Much love, Jules. See you, mate. Bye, buddy. Let's see. Beautiful. Love it. Isn't he just he's a ripping fella, isn't he?
What a
the old
Jules, mate.
For anyone that doesn't know as well, and I will link everyone's Twitter handles in the video description as well. But some absolute legends here. Jules, the great crazy frog, as we all know and love him. Now, Spills, you've actually got the pleasure of introducing our next guest as well, mate. So
I think it's me. Hold up.
I think it might be Janath here.
DR's jumped the gun here.
I've jumped the gun.
That's right, mate.
That's all right.
I'm going to introduce this next legend. He's a fellow stats nerd. Loves a good stat.
Here we go.
Helped us a lot with our spreadsheet analysis throughout this year. It's a great Arsen Dragon. So if we can get him in, we can see a couple of Supercoach
guys, how's it going?
rewards
G'day,
in the
mate.
background there with the drink bottle and everything.
There he is.
Can you hear me?
It's great to have you on. Yep, loud and clear, mate.
Cool, that's good.
Oh, it's good to have you on.
How are you, boys?
We
Very well,
I'll
mate.
tell you
Excellent,
what, when
mate.
we didn't have the
That's
defense
good. That's
first
good.
position data throughout the year, you came in super.
Yeah. I only helped you for like 1 week, but that was all good. Yeah.
You broke the glass ceiling there, mate. So thank you very much for that.
Yeah,
I guess we'll
that's fine, mate. That's
jump
good.
straight into it. With regards to how's your season been? Just give us sort of an overview of how you're looking.
Oh, mate, I started off pretty low, 50,000, and then I slowly got up to about 4,000 last week. But I sat back and did not trade and played with 21 players last week and dropped 2,000
Okay.
rank.
Yeah.
I held my 2 trades. While I have Took, while I have Dawn, I bought Rankin in for Fisher.
Oh,
And I'm just hoping for carnage next couple of weeks. I'm hoping for carnage while other people trade out.
Carnage. I love it. You're an evil genius, now you asked him there.
Good trade. Keep it
I'm like,
coming. Give Janath another injury.
I will take a small loss.
Spill.
Carnage.
Spills. Big start already. Well, Jules is going to be very happy with that, Spills. Well done.
Took the great man's advice. Carry on.
Oh,
I just
that's
couldn't
all
help
right.
myself.
Next week, but all right. Yeah. Insert
That's
it.
all right,
That's
mate.
good.
Got to be harder on Janath.
Well, on that regard, mate, what would you say was this? So you're ranked at 4K, but you were ranked at 2K, so you must have had something go right.
No, I'm six. Wait, I'll have a quick check. I'm 6,602. I dropped 2,161. It's probably not a good idea holding those trades.
That's right. But look, I was talking with DR about this as well because I was in a similar position, and we're thinking, all right, is the points you lose this week in the grand scheme of things, the trade is probably going to be more worth it if you can play it right. So I think it's important not to look too much in the back and look forward. Now you've got through that hard week.
Yeah.
What would you say was the starting pick you loved the most, or the one you look back on now and say, if I didn't start this player, my season could really be down the pipe, sort of thing?
Was probably Sheasel like everyone else. Everyone started with him, and it's pretty generic, I know, but I wasn't too sure on him at the start, and I'm like, but everyone's picking him. You better pick him, don't you? You've got to go with him. So him and Bont too, and also Butters. There's 3. I started with those 3. You can't go wrong with them. So that's about it for me. I'd say that. Yeah.
As a Swanee yourself, did you start Isaac Heaney?
Yes, I did too. Yes, I've had him the whole season too. Yeah. Started with Heaney the whole season. Yeah. Definitely.
On the flip side, then, mate, what is there a player that you just regretted starting, a pod that went wrong? Anything?
Yeah, like Catta said earlier, Tom Stewart. I've had him the whole season. For the whole season.
At least he's playing in the midfield.
I've seen Catta talking about it earlier. I'm like, you're reading the same story, mate. Yeah, it's exactly the same thing, mate. I paid 630 from the start. I didn't read the rules properly before the start, and I was thinking I'm trying to get 22 players on park in those small buys. And after round 1, I realised. So I did not start with any of the Suns guys or any of these other guys that the early buys, and I started chasing them, and I was chasing my tail real good after round 1 or 2. So I started with Stewart instead of Tom Green, and that didn't.
Yeah, too bad.
Then I bought Tom Green. Yeah, then I bought Tom Green the week he got 5.
That's bad.
You want a Green in the first 6 weeks. That's why it's a bit like.
Yeah. And I was like, why is everyone buying all these Suns and GWS guys? I'm like, I don't want them because you're going to get stuck with the buyers. I sort of myself big time. So I was chasing hard, and then I've killed myself already straight away. But then I got Tom Green. He got 5 the very first week I had him. I'm like, okay.
Against your boys as well, I think.
Yes, it was against the Swans. Yes.
It was.
Yeah, it was. What can you do, mate? What can you do? It's one only one of the stories I've got for this year. There you are.
So what you're saying then, mate, is don't pick any player that's name is Tom.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Or Isaac.
Or Isaac.
Yeah, I got him last week.
Yeah. Well,
yeah,
it's brilliant. It's brilliant that you bring up the fact that there's these regrets that you have and that sort of thing. I want to see how this ties in with your learners, because with the data that you make, mate, like it's seriously surreal how much data you genuinely have. And look, as part of the third man up, Ross and I were super, super appreciative of the fact that you allowed us access to that data to show on a larger scale. What is what's good, based off of that data that you could use perhaps? Like, what is a lesson that you could take forward from this year, either with the data or without it, in general for next year?
Oh, mate, you gotta back yourself. I've seen like with a lot of people that bought Kerno off the back of that data. I didn't do it myself, but also didn't buy Mackay. Mackay is fired up in that same time. You could have got either. And people went for the favourite one, the little bit, they were about the same price, weren't they, sort of thing. So you can sort of sometimes go the other way.
Yeah. When others sag.
Yeah.
That's fair. And on that note, is there a pick that you've already locked into your starting team pick for 2025?
It's probably going to be the Bont again, isn't it? The Bont never disappoints, does it? Yeah.
Auto lock.
Hopefully he loses a little bit of value at the end of the year. I've still got him. I've owned him the whole year. Hopefully he loses a little bit of value, and he can come out about 600, not 700 next year. Because you can't go wrong with him. Every year he's good. I just hope this tag stuff doesn't continue so much and ruin. Actually, probably I hope it does. It will ruin some values, but
yeah, you want some carnage,
mate. I need this carnage, man. I've got 2 trades left. I need some carnage. Yeah, I do.
Bring on the taggers. Bring them on.
Yeah, I need some carnage. Yeah, I'm still holding Sexton. I've still got Gorn. I've still got 2. So, and I've got 2 trades, and I've got Rankin. Because I traded 2 weeks ago. I traded Fisher. Fisher for Rankin instead of going Sexton to Corball. Instead of Sexton to Corball, I went Fisher to Rankin. That's sliding doors moments, isn't it? What can you do?
Mate. Little things.
And I had the money, and I'm like, do I do this? But I had $81,000 in the bank, and I'm thinking, come on, use the money. Don't have any money left over. But I still want to use the money the other way. And I'm like, I'm still thinking of Sexton as a swing for the defence. Like, shouldn't have done it.
That's all good, mate.
So I've still got him. It's pretty harsh, but yeah.
So
it's not a good end of the season, boys.
That's all right.
Still a while to
we
go,
know that
mate.
you send in questions on the mailbag, so we greatly appreciate the role you play as part of your community, mate. What's some general feedback that you have for the Swordplay podcast as a whole? Things that you like, things that we can improve upon for this year or next year, that sort of thing. Anything?
Oh, mate, you just keep doing what you're doing, because I love your camaraderie you have. You 3 boys, you say you're brothers and that, and it feels like that too. It feels like that to me. So you just believe that, and that's good. Yep. That's good enough, isn't it?
100%, man.
Mate, everything is good. I love Janath with your stats and that. And DR, I've watched DR's podcast for years, and I've watched Spills' podcast as well, his own one. So I've watched him individually as well. So, but you 3 together are just good guys, Just keep doing what you're doing. I don't think you just need to change too much from this format what you're doing. So you pretty much got it nailed, I'm pretty sure. So
thanks, mate.
I don't know if that's a good answer or not, but
great answer.
I'm pretty sure you're doing.
Give us more, mate. The head's wobbling a little bit here. Give us more. This is why we've inserted this segment in. We're hoping that people don't go, you're crap. It's all about giving us a little bit of love.
Don't let me be saying I'm crap, mate. I'm not much of a talker. I'm more of a data guy. I'm not much of a talker. So sorry guys.
You did a great job, mate.
Well, wonderful job for all of us.
Let's make you a talker then, mate, because we're going to put you in our shoes. We've got 2 questions here for you. One from another one of the legends of the community, the Duke. He has
Rookie.
24 premiums now. So not 23, he's got 24, but only one trade left. One of those
24.
Fisher, in the case that it doesn't come back, he's got to go for a forward or defender below 515k. The main options are Luke Jackson, Colby McKercher, Tom Stewart, Trent Rivers. Which one, if you're going to make that trade?
Yeah, I'm just trying to read it here. So he needs a defend. He needs one of those four, does he? Those three, four.
A forward or a defender below 515. 24 premiums.
I've seen this on many other podcasts. It's team dependent. What's the rest of his team?
Can he hold that trade? Does he have to trade, or can he just keep that? I think you.
Colby's here because he got both.
Yeah.
But is Colby going to stick? Stewart. I've got Tom Stewart. I've owned him the whole year. It's been a hard watch, but he's coming back because he's not getting tagged at the moment. But Rivers, I wouldn't bother.
Rivers is a real wild card. I've really enjoyed watching him in the last couple of weeks. He sort of.
Can I just jump in very quickly here on Trent Rivers? Anyone that doesn't follow him, you know Jeff White, the ex-Melbourne ruckman. He does a lot of work on ruckcraft, and I've been showing these videos to Max because my little Maxie's in the ruck playing some representative footy at the moment. And Trent Rivers was their most important midfielder last week. They were talking about how they were just working at the start towards Draper's right hand. He was just banging it forward. And you look at where Rivers is set up during the stoppages. He was the man. He was the main man in that midfield. And it even forced Draper to then start to look to hit behind him as well, because the damage that Rivers was doing within those stoppages. So I think that his midfield craft is actually pretty underrated for someone that hasn't spent a lot of time through there. So looking into the next couple of years, we don't know what's happening with track and all the rest. I think he could be a potential superstar mid of the competition. I'll even go that far with Trent Rivers. I'm not saying it's right now, but I'm a big fan of Trent Rivers, actually. A big fan.
This sort of, from the Jake, this question sort of doesn't show if he needs any swings with this guy or not. So, because Fisher has the forward defender swing.
Yeah.
Like, none of those other guys do. None of the rest do. So it's like, it's not a like for like. So it's pretty hard.
What's happened with the Duke, Arsen, is that he's got Rosie at M9, and so he can't access the midfield as his 23rd. And then if a Gawn or McGovern is going to miss this week, he's going to need a defender or a forward unless he uses a rookie, which you'd use a rookie to hold that trade, probably, wouldn't you?
Oh, yeah. I played Kruger and Dowling last week, and and I was one short with them on field too. So I just played it. I'm like, I'm just going to take a risk. I'm going to take a risk.
Right? He had bloody 28 donuts last week and he kept on his two. He's holding the trade if he's true.
It was the only week this year I've held trade. The first round of the year. It's not good. Not a good time to do it, but I'm like, why not? Like, why? Carnage might come. It might. You never know. Hopefully. But hopefully it's the Carnage comes to whatever they trade in. Not me.
Oh, you're very sly there. You're very sly.
That's the way I think. That's the way I'm thinking. Because generally, whoever I trade in gets injured straight away. So, yeah, I've seen a lot of people trading in Philippines. We're talking about it on Saturday, and I'm like, I don't want to borrow that. I'm not all over it. So, and then what happened? You never know. But yeah, from those, like, it's right. It just depends what he needs for his team. You know, like Stewart's not a dual position. The other first two are. I'm not sure if Rivers is. Is he a dual?
Rivers is dual. He's got mid.
Yeah. He's dual. So yeah, I would definitely not go Stewart because I've owned him all year. Yeah, no, I wouldn't buy him. But I'd probably go with McKercher. Yeah, especially if Fisher's out. Definitely, yeah. I would go with him. Yeah.
And then just the second question there, mate. So this is Matty. Matthew, another legend of the channel, a great support of Third Man Up as well. Thank you, mate. We'll try to get you on at some point as well, Matthew. Used Jackson to cover Gawn last week, but sounded like Darcy might be back this week. So do I trade Gawn now or still use Jackson as cover? Well, good news is that Gawn is a test to play this week. So he himself could be back. So I don't think there's much.
I'm happy to say because that's what I held.
Arsen?
Yeah. I held Gawn last week. Yeah, I held Gawn and just played Kruger and Grundy last week. in just the hope that maybe Gorm will be back too. So
would be a very ideal.
I
result
didn't trade him. A lot of people trade him. I'm like, it's not worth a trade with 7 weeks left. So I'd just play him again if Gorm's out, because if he's close to playing this week, he should be playing next week, shouldn't he? You know, so you'd think so anyway. Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much for coming on tonight's podcast, mate. We really appreciate again all the hard work that you've done for the Supercoach community as a whole. On a personal note, I hope that the grand final is between our teams, but also I know the other two boys also like a bar of that. So
I'm pretty confident that it's going to be your two sides. Yeah. Just wait. Both of them just wait. Just wait.
We had a little bit of we had our
3 games on top of the ladder, Sydney. So
well, we lost 2 in a row, you know, so we can lose some guys.
You want those losses to sort of set you up for the rest of the year.
We need some drama. We need some drama to wake them up a little bit. That's true.
Yeah, wake up call. Bit of a wake up
like
call.
My Supercoach team needs a little bit of carnage. The Swans need a little bit of carnage.
I was going to say that, mate. I was just going to
hopefully we'll give you carnage this week, mate. Happy to oblige with that.
Yes, we will. Carnage.
Bring it on.
It's going to be carnage, boys. I love it. Anyway, thanks for having me on, guys.
No worries, mate. Thank you.
Legend. Thanks again, mate.
No,
see you, buddy.
Thank you.
Bye, mate. What a great man.
Another legend of the community.
It's just great person after great person after great person. Now, I now have the pleasure of introducing our next guest. Now, you may be already familiar with this great man because he does run his own YouTube channel, almost at 300 subs. Last count I did was 292. So if you are currently watching and you are not subbed to the great Supercoach Loch, please pause the video now, get yourself a cup of tea, make sure you come back, but go and sub to his channel now, because not only is it great content, he is a wonderful human and a bit of an entertainer. Lots of us love, abs and the way that he goes about it. And this man has a very, very unique type personality as well. And that's why we love him here. And as you can see on the top of his beautiful noggin there, a swordplay beanie. So you can't help but respect that, can you? So let's get this great man on. It is Supercoach Loch. Thank you very much for joining us, Legend. How you going?
Thank you very much, guys. Thanks for having me. Yeah, going well, mate. Going well. Keen to talk some Supercoach.
Beautiful, mate. Well, we just talked about the fact that you do run your own Supercoach YouTube channel, and I think it's one of the most entertaining channels out there, mate, as I mentioned. But look, let's talk a little bit of Supercoach. How's the season gone to date, mate? How you going rank-wise? And most importantly, have you got any of those trades in the bank just in case there's a little bit more carnage ahead?
Yeah, well, I started out definitely a lot better than last year. I think last year, after round 2, I was like 90K. But this year started off, around about 5 or 6K after round 1. Slowly moved up into the top 1,000. Did a few early trades, like I traded out Hayden Young to Luke Ryan, which I was really happy with. Traded out, who have I traded out? I traded out Grundy for Sweet, and then had Sweet at R2, and then copped a nice Sweet Donuts. There's been a few guys who I've traded out and traded back in. I think there's about 4 of them that I've traded back in. Yeah. And at the start of the buy rounds, I think I was ranked around 250. Whoa, then after that, sort of a slow sort of decline. The taggers started coming into the game. It seemed like every week, I had Walsh, Dawson, who else? Tom Green, Steele, just all being tagged, so giving me subpar scores. So it's been a sort of a slight decline in the rankings, and I am now at 1,191. So, but I probably shouldn't complain about being ranked near the top 1K. And I have got 3 trades left.
Wow,
nice.
You're definitely not finished outside the top 1K, mate.
Yeah, and it goes to show how good of a season you've had, mate, if you're on the slide and you're ranked just outside the top 1K. So it goes to show how much of a successful season you've had to date, mate. So let's continue on with the theme of success. One starting pick, mate, that you have absolutely patted yourself on the back with.
Yeah, there was one particular guy who I was, sort of scared to start with because he has burnt me before. He was a forward, and I just thought, what other options are there? Worst case scenario, he's definitely a top 6 forward, and that was Sir Isaac Heaney.
The one we dream of.
Yeah.
Where's the bottle spills?
Go on, Spill.
Oh, don't have it on me, boys. It's gone. It's gone.
Oh, yeah, it's
gone.
I've chucked away the egg.
The landlord's what she's like, oh, next time you pay your rent, do you reckon you leave that egg back on the couch? It's like quite dirty, but so I've actually lost the egg, boy. There's no egg. So, that's our fault,
the landlord's got the egg back.
It's a very expensive glass egg, so it must be like some sort of.
Oh, we've hijacked it. Sorry, let's get back, boys. Come on.
Very quick. I'm going to go to the op shop and I'm going to get him some sort of similar egg. I'll find you something the oppie spills for under $2, mate. I guarantee. I don't know what. Yeah, it's a nice egg. No offense to you. It's a beautiful egg. Let's get off the egg. Loch, we just talked about a great pick, mate. Let's go the opposite now.
Oh no.
Who's dudded you this year, mate? So who's on the never again list? Who's not getting a Chrissy present this year, mate?
Well, this guy I only had in my side for 2 weeks. I wanted a GWS player just with their early run, playing against North Melbourne and West Coast in the first 2 rounds. I wanted someone that, he had to have had a decent game round 0. I think this guy scored about 110 or so. I did get a lot of comments asking me, why on earth did you pick this bloke? The guy was only 1% of teams. My plan was, to hopefully get a few ceiling scores, because this particular player, has gone 200 plus scores a couple of times, and I was hoping he could have done it for me, make a bit of cash, then trade him out no matter what he scored. And that man was Stephen Canelio.
Oh, the
I was expecting.
Yeah,
I wasn't. I was expecting.
You were thinking Hogan.
It was
thinking Hogan. I was 100%.
It was originally Hogan.
Yep.
The GWS guy that I wanted.
Cogs.
And I went Cogs instead. So I traded out at the start of the year, got Hogan out, but I did bring in Heaney for Hogan.
Okay.
Well, Heaney for Hogan, very nice trade there. I reckon I got dudded by Cogs last year. I traded him too early, then he went in a mad run. Yeah. Then I traded him back in. It was just, that's why on my never again list as well, Loch. But very much a pod there, mate. And it goes to show that sometimes pod mix go well.
Yeah.
Others
just
not.
Too bad. Just want to take a gamble, but didn't pay off. And the plan was to trade him to someone who I thought was going to be performing, who had performed well the first 2 weeks, and that man I traded him to Steele in round 3. I was happy for the first couple of months, but now he's quite a few dud scores.
No one saw that.
With you, mate.
To be fair.
Oh, jeez, that's terrible.
We've been there. We still haven't we, Loch? But next year, mate, what are we looking to do? Now we saw the great Catta, and he's looking to lock in a couple of nice pods there.
Mm-hmm.
Jules maybe going a little bit wacky himself, and I'm sure they'll find one. How about yourself, mate? One lock for next year. And it doesn't have to be a pod. It could be just a super safe pick that you think we should all go for without thinking, mate, and throw away the key. Who's one lock for next year, mate, that you think to start with?
Well, I thought I'd go a bit of a pod. I could easily go, say like a Bont or a Dacos. But just looking ahead to next year, I don't think we've got a lot of forward options.
All right, give us one.
So this guy, I think you talked about him earlier. He's currently injured. His last 2 games since he's been back in the side, been playing in the midfield for the Saints, he's scored a 112 and a 101. And that man, Matthias Philippou.
I like it.
Obviously, we're gonna have to watch him preseason, see if he's still got that midfield role.
He looks good, very good. Reminds me a lot like Bontempelli, like a young Bont, the way he's built, the way he moves. No way I'm comparing to him, but very close, very similar.
He had the Bont trait. He had the Bont comparison in his draft year as well. I remember it vividly.
I thought he might have. Yep.
When his potential is Bont, and I like a lot. That's a great pick. He's going to be cheap.
That goal he kicked on Saturday night was very Bont-like, I will admit.
Just
mate.
Rest up, Mateus. Have the rest of the year off. Yes, so can be nice and cheap
That's
next year.
They want him cheap. We don't got to pay out for him.
I like it. Look, if this bloke gets to 75% of what Bond's achieved, then St Kilda have a magnificent player. Mate, talk about a lesson here. Now, we've heard from a few wonderful guests so far, different types of lessons about backing your gut and thinking about maybe using trades differently when we go into next year. But is there one thing that's really stood out to you this year, mate, that you're really going to think about when you're looking at creating a side in 2025, mate? What's one lesson that really sticks out to you, buddy?
Yeah, I think this year, like I haven't really nailed my vice captains. Yeah, I've been a bit greedy. I've had vice captains score around your 120s, and I didn't take it. And then my captain would score 100, 110. There was 1 week where I think it might have been Grundy. So I think I said on one of my videos that I need you to go 125 plus. Anything less, I'm not going to take. Yeah, I think he scored a 124, and I didn't take it. And I think that was the round. I think that was Queen's birthday weekend. So I had a choice of either Max Gawn or Nick Dacos as my captain. And I chose Dacos. And he got tagged by Neil Bullen, and he got injured.
That hurts, doesn't it? That hurts. Well, it's so hard to get it right. It is so hard to get it right. And that's why I've got so much respect for my man, Janath and Roscoe on the third man up, and also Pig Mentality from Dr. Supercoach for the captaincy work that they do. Always elite. I must admit, I always sneak a look at, at the game day. What's my man Janath done? Yeah, my voice.
Don't look at me. I haven't nailed captain in 5 weeks, I reckon.
This week was the first one I've nailed one in a long time, locking Neil.
Yeah, I'm with you, brother. Had him locked away on the Sunday night. Perfect conditions for him.
It's just a great name, isn't it, Loch? It's an absolute great
name. Throw away the keys.
All right, buddy. Now, before we get into these couple of questions, mate, from the mailbag, you're in charge this week, mate, for these 2 questions. Looking forward to that. Any quick feedback for us, mate? Now, you can give us something negative, something positive. You can give Janath a drive-by if you want. That's some feedback we've got so far.
One of these others to a drive-by.
Genuinely love the podcast. Genuinely love the podcast. Listen to it every week. I listen to it when I'm driving to work, from work, and then when I'm cooking dinner that night. Like, you guys are on my phone all day.
That's awesome, man.
We really do give up, don't you, with that 2-hour podcast?
I love it. Like, you guys are authentic, you're entertaining, you're informative. So there's some feedback. Like, just keep up the great work.
Thank you.
Thank you very, very much, Legend. Much appreciated. I'll tell you what, a man that loves Supercoach and also cooks. I'll tell you what, he's a bit of a catch. Is the old Supercoach Rocky. Let me tell you about that, But mate, let's get into these 2 questions here. The first one is from Logan J, who's always a regular contributor. Logs, how are you, mate? Hey, lads, could one of you lend me a trade so I could get rid of Spud Matt Rowell? You should have taken this one, Spills. Genuinely, the hardest owner of all time. I'd rather watch 2018 Carlton than watch that bloke run around for 120 minutes. Sorry, I should have actually looked at these questions before I've just done the old cut and paste here. So, Loch, I've just really talked you up as a good human. Are you willing to give one of your 3 to Logan here, mate? Are you a sharing and caring type bloke with your trade, or is this just Supercoach is a business here? See you later, Logs. Go and get stuff, mate. What do you reckon?
I reckon. Well, it's hard to see without seeing the rest of his team, without his other midfielders. I'm guessing he's going to have a Bond type. Have maybe someone. How much is Rowell at the moment?
He's about 460, mate. So it's getting to the point where if you did have a trade, you got to jump off now, otherwise you won't be able to get him to anybody.
I'll tell you what he's worth. He's worth about a curly early. You're a chomp. So notice I didn't even go to the dairy milk.
Hey, that's disrespectful.
And that's on special on the shelf at Coles too. That's half price.
Special.
Clearance.
That's half price. Again, that's $1.10.
Old Sri Lankan yellow tickets, Janath.
You never buy anything that doesn't have a yellow ticket on it. You have to. That's the Sri Lankan way.
get me started on Matt Rowell. I could go on for bloody ages about it. I know Logan's frustration, and
Can we just say how much? What are the odds right now that Spill starts Matt Rowell next year?
No way! Never again, this mate.
And Callum Mills. Mills and Rowell.
I never owned Mills once. I've never owned him in my team ever.
You told us all you were going to. You told the whole community jump on Mills for about 3 weeks. People waiting for Spills to make the move himself. You left people in the lurch, mate.
Yeah,
you never jumped on the man after he was your love child. Never bloody got him, mate. Give us a break, Spills.
What would you do, mate? Would you trade out Rowell? And if so, who would you go to?
I probably would trade him out. I'm just looking at the options now. Like I'm not sure how much money he has in the bank.
Like Spills.
Adam Trelaw.
So we're gonna touch on that now, are we? It's been brewing up for the last hour and a half now. I got Loch on now, and it's been the biggest alpha in the room this whole podcast. Myself and the Adam Trelaw curse. I've cursed him so bad. Like
big time.
He would have been ropeable. If he brought in Adam Trelaw after he said the vivid image of the double hamstring, he doesn't even get injured in the game. He gets injured in the warm-up, the pre-game.
In the warm-up. And that's what we were saying, Janath, right? That's what we were saying,
I
mate.
thought he was past it. And look, I to be honest, I'm pretty... it sounds absurd, but I kind of wish that I almost went there. I know it sounds stupid because he was injured, missed the game. But now if I wanted him and he was coming back and he was going to hit form again, I can't actually afford him because Rowell's dropped that much. So it's getting to the point now where it's like far out. I would have just
mate,
it
I'll say this. You've done an absolute Donald Trump avoiding Trelaw, mate. You've just turned your head to the side for a sec, mate. And not even being raised. So, this could have been a lot worse, mate, for you. You've done an absolute Donald, mate.
It's almost like I was at the game and then I was just in the crowd and I've just sniped him. And he's just gone down the warm-up and he's done. So, yeah. For the 2% of sides that own Trelaw, I do apologise for that.
I'll tell you what. Anecdotal. Sorry, we've just hijacked.
Sorry,
we do. You get used to it, Lockie. Like
I'm just busy here trying to look at some options.
But I was at the game, and they're doing the play-in shows, and obviously Adam Trelaw's number 1, but they're going straight to number 2, Jamara. And the first thing I'm like is, Spills, what have you done?
Where is he?
What have you done, mate? Why have you killed him?
I was never going through it on this week. I said I'd give Rowell one more week to see what he did, and obviously that's not going to happen now. So, yeah, very lucky I didn't go through with it because, yeah. I kind of wish I did though, because watching that 65 was terrible. Wish I just had the Trelaw donut, honestly, and just had fielded Hutchinson or anyone. Terrible.
Step up, mate.
Sorry, Loch. We've absolutely hijacked this.
That's all good, man. It's all good. Give me a chance to look at some options.
If you're a regular viewer of the potty, you get used to it. We do this a lot, so it happens.
That's all good, mate. All good. All right. Looking at Matt Rowell, he's 452.5k. So I'm not sure how much money you have in the bank, but you could trade down, dare I say it, to Clayton Oliver, who's 417.
Hey, beggars can't be choosers at this point.
I'm not sure if you do that or not. You could, if you have about, where is he? You have about 4 or 5k left. You trade up to Jai Simpkin, who has forward mid DPP, or you could get his teammate Colby McKercher, who's 465, who also has defender mid. So unfortunately, I don't think there's a lot of options there.
There's 3 good ones, realistic ones to have a look at though, Loch. I like it, mate. And just around the price as well, mate. You're not talking go bonds or anyone like that. Still being very realistic, mate. To finish off, how about some captaincy thoughts, mate? Who are you looking to go as your VC and captain this week, buddy? Have you worked that out yet? Or
I'm probably the wrong person to be asking that this year. But at the moment, I've gone with the VC with Bont against the Cats.
Yeah,
I've got the captain at the moment. I'm going to back him against the Swans. Your man, DR, Lockie Neal.
Yeah.
That's captain again. He's in some good form.
Fair play.
Good history against them too. Very good history against Sydney. You wouldn't believe it. And it's at home.
Yeah.
At home too. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it.
Oh, okay. Well, mate, cool. I cannot thank you enough for coming on the channel. As I said, lots of people that watch this are probably familiar with your work, mate, because I'm a big fan of your channel, mate. Looking forward to how you finish off the season. Obviously started really, really strong, taking a couple of backward steps. But if we're talking backward steps, and just outside the top 1K.
Yeah, you don't.
We're not talking any carnage here, mate. I've got full faith that with 3 trades still in the bank, the envy of many, that you can really continue to climb up the ranks, Loch. So thank you very much, brother. Much appreciated. And the invitation is open anytime you'd love to come on. We'd love to chat with you again, mate.
No worries. Thank you very much for having me, guys. Keep up the great work.
Thanks
appreciate
so much,
it, buddy. You take care, mate. See you, champ. Bye, mate.
Bye, mate.
I'll tell you what, boys, legend after legend. And I told you, he's a very, very entertaining man, is Supercoach Loch. Now, I believe that we may be waiting for our next guest. So we may actually move on to the next legend. And Janath, I believe that you have the pleasure of introducing this great human.
Yes, so another legend of the community, one of our regulars in the chat. I know many of you may recognize this man with the infamous Caleb Sarong profile picture, but it's the great man Twadsy. Dylan Twads has been part of our community for quite a while. I think since I started, I know it's definitely been a regular in the mailbag. Massive Pies fan. Last year was top of the world. Here he is. I don't want to see this man's face. I want to see your face, Dylan, but not the man on the left. That's all good. We'll leave that. We'll let that go aside. But how are you going, mate? Glad to have you on today.
Hey guys, thanks for having me. Really appreciate it. Going well.
Awesome, buddy. Look at that beanie. Look at that beanie. Doesn't it suit the great man as well? Hey, what a sexy looking.
They suit everybody, DR.
They suit everybody.
Great beanies.
Absolutely.
Oh, look at that. Heard here first.
Love him.
But
Love him.
Dylan, it's an absolute pleasure to have you on because I know that you've been playing Supercoach a while now, and you're a massive Pies fan. But let us into your side a little bit. How are you ranked now? How's sort of the trajectory been throughout the year? And how many trades do you have left?
Season's gone all right. Not the best, but it started off all right. It's slowly going down, ranked 13k at the moment, but that's all right. A few risky trades here and there, but that's all right.
Do you want to give us a bit of an insight into one of your trades? That was a bit risky.
Well, using my last boost, trading out Raul Marshall there to Lockie Whitfield 5 minutes before the game, and he scored 50, got tagged by Jordan. Absolutely shocking.
Oh, it hurts, mate. It hurts, doesn't it?
Oh,
yeah.
Bloody taggers.
2 weeks later, it goes 160. So,
jeez, I think we were on the same boat with Ron Marshall there because we did. I reckon we both made that same exact move.
Yeah.
Not to Whitfield for me, but getting rid of Marshall after bringing him in. Oh, absolute disaster class. Written all over it there. We'll go straight into sort of your starting side. So going a bit back now, what was one starting pick which you really loved, mate?
That was easy for me. Caleb Sarong.
Caleb Sarong.
Yeah.
The Schlong.
Yeah, he's amazing. His favourite player outside of Collingwood. So
yeah.
And what a start he had as well. You actually got that big ceiling game, mate. I think after that game, the first couple of weeks, lots of people jumped on. But the fact that you actually got that first game makes you a big winner, I think, with that starting pick, mate.
It was a good little pod for a few weeks there. So
for a few weeks?
Yeah. Became less poddish very quickly, didn't he?
Yeah.
He's the old Schlong. Yeah.
Do you reckon that the Schlong, Caleb Sarong, can come back to those heights to end the season?
Yes, I reckon he can. Freya want to stay in the top 4, so he's got to perform.
That's good. And he's also been stepping up as the captain in the last couple of games. I've noticed him and Andy Brayshaw. So maybe a little bit more responsibility has coincided with a couple of those down games. But hopefully with Alex Pearce back in the fold in the coming weeks, or maybe even this week, he'll come back to right form coming up. And then on the flip side, Dylan, I know obviously we can't all just talk about the good picks. We must talk about the other side of things as well. What's the starting pick that you regret?
Caleb Sarong. Oh, sorry.
Caleb's a rock.
No. That's my bad. Sorry. Tom
okay.
Liberatore. Tom
Liberatore, okay.
I'll tell you what, mate.
bad.
I'm in the exact same boat with you.
Yeah.
No, many people might not believe it, but I actually locked him as well, and very disappointing. Yeah, very deflating Owen early.
I agree. I had him last year as a pod in the second half, and it was amazing. Absolutely loved him. This year, not so much.
Yeah, very
When
disappointing.
did you trade him out, Twadsy? Or do you still have him somehow?
I traded him round 3 before his price change.
Yeah.
Yeah. I skipped
And
him
he
over
went
Butters.
Before he got injured.
Oh, that's so tough.
Ooh.
Yeah. Then I picked Tom Stewart for some reason over Butters too, which is a bit silly.
Do you reckon
Tom
it was
Stewart?
a matter of
He's
If-
copped
if we
a
think
couple of
about-
drive boys.
Tom Stewart?
Hasn't he?
If we
No
think-
one likes Tom Stewart here.
But
When
if
you
you think
drop
back to the
below
start of the
460,
season,
then
right? A lot of teams went Jordan Dawson and Tom Liberatore over LD and Butters. Like we were thinking about combinations here. And at the start of the season, the only one of those 4 that actually came out to play was Zach Butters. And the Libber owners and the LDU and the Dawson owners to start the season just copping it by Tom Green, Matt Rowell, Jack Steele. And these players
the
are now
tables have turned.
become certified spuds.
Yeah.
And those players coming back, your Dawson, I mean, it's not been great, but Libba and LDU. Did you jump on a fallen premium throughout the year, Dylan, that you're like, oh, I was really happy with that?
Oh, probably Zach Merritt.
Oh,
Zach Merritt, yeah.
Nice, mate.
Great pick, yeah. Well, moving on then with a starting pick lock for next year, mate. So if you're looking forward to next year, who have you just locked in? You're not gonna shy away from picking them next year, and you can't say Sarong.
I might actually avoid him next year. Might not have some value, but a couple Roos boys, Tristan Jerry and Colby McKercher.
Nice.
Really, great picks.
Kircher has some value, so I'll look for value next year. Rents a few big dogs. So.
And Cherry?
Yep.
Is just the way that he plays, or is he like? Is there a reason for that?
I reckon he'll be the best ruckman in a few years.
Yeah,
I like how he plays.
Real high praise. Yeah,
great take. Yeah.
So, he's gotten over his injury niggles. It was unfortunate with them last year. So he looks unreal.
No, I'm with you. I really like the way he goes about it. He's hard as nails, Cherry, and when you Gordon Grundy types look to hang him up, I think Cherry's one of the blokes who's probably next in line. So great shout. I do like Cherry.
Yeah.
Dylan, you'd probably remember the chase down. I still vividly remember this. The chase down against the Eagles. Like the fact that a man that tall can run that fast for that long.
It was unreal.
That was incredible. Unreal. Seriously.
Great.
And then I guess just one lesson from this year that you'll take forward for next year. What's something that you'd consider there?
I overthink too much about Supercoach. Captaincy, trading targets, or same with my starting picks. So I didn't start Butters because that ankle roll kind of scared me a little bit. So that's why I went to Libba. But probably overthinking a fair bit. Just say stick with my
similar, mate. I was in the same shoes. I overlooked Butters because of Libba, because of that ankle. I was the exact same situation. So I understand your pain. It's frustrating when you see that.
It's annoying.
Because Libba, he can be so much better than he was from last year's output. I know, like they say, age and stuff like that, but he was doing it so well last year. What was stopping him? So really frustration.
Yeah, that's it.
Awesome.
And just finally, Dylan, before we get on to the questions, as we were saying, you've been a keen follower of the podcast for a couple of years now. Do you have anything that you want to give to us in terms of advice or anything, advice, feedback, positive, negative, whatever you want, mate? Just let us know how you found the podcast these last couple of years, especially this year.
I love it. It's just fantastic. you guys are just so positive, and yeah, no, it's good. You can have some banner and not take it to heart, which is good. I love the little rants as well. Keep that up next year.
There you go. There'll be nothing without DR, right?
The rant.
Absolutely love them, but just keep up the great work, and your passion for it's great. So
thank you.
Keep that up.
Oh, thanks, Jill. No, we definitely pride ourselves on being a real positive podcast. Doesn't seem to matter how bad things are going. You know, like we give it to Janath, and yeah, he's definitely copped it in the last week. But look at him; he's still got a big smile on his face. So that's what we're all about here on the Swordplay Potty, mate. We we enjoy it. There's no doubt about that.
Got to have a laugh.
You do, especially with the boys. Like I was saying, even when you have a bad week, I still look forward to the podcast because at least there'll be some positive light to come out of it. So it's always a good thing that it doesn't really matter how your week goes as long as you've got a good support sort of network around you to sort of help you to get over those little ups and take you through the ups and downs at the same time, which is always better to have that to share with someone else as well. So thank you for coming on, Dylan. We'll just jump into the questions here.
Thank you.
For you. So we got hi, DR, Janath, Spills, and now Dill. I'm in two minds whether to use my last trade this round or not. I know I should keep for an injury, but want to get Dowling into the forward line so I have good cover for Jackson, who is R3 while Max is out.
Oh.
The trade would be Joe Richards to Sam Berry.
No.
Do you endorse that or do you not, Dylan?
Probably not. Nah. Not. Yeah. Probably not easy last trade, but does that say you got to get Jackson? Is that back to the forward line?
I think so. Yes.
Yeah.
So I have good cover for Jackson, who is R3. Yeah. So he's basically saying what he's saying is his cover right now is Joe Richards, but he wants to get Billy Dowling into the forward line, Sam Berry as the midfield cover on the bench. So he's basically saying the only way he can swap Richards and Dowling is by making a trade.
Nah, Joey Richards is really good. Oh, he's just talented. I'd back in Joey Richards. I don't see him leaving at 23, so
I'm with you, Jill. I don't think it's worth the trade.
Especially if it's his last trade. You don't want to cop a donut in finals, so
yeah.
Do you know what's really surprising though?
Free,
Have a guess at Sam Berry's last three scores. 104, 89, 106.
Where was this in round one?
No idea.
Sam. I pick you over McKercher and you do this now. Thanks very much, Sammy. Go get stuffed, mate.
Here's another burner we forgot about.
He's the lower grade berry in the competition anyway, boys. Let's be honest.
Oh, here we go.
I'm not going to speak positive on Jared's tag and all of our favourite players.
What about Thomas Berry?
I love Tommy Berry. I love him. No, pressure forward. Okay, third then. Sam second. All right, okay.
Do you know who Dylan's favourite berry is? Jared Berry for winning them the premiership last year.
Oh, you didn't. You actually went there. Oh, I tell ya. He went there. I wasn't even going to mention this grand final. Janath just one of my absolute favourites in Bez as well. Blaming him. Next question.
It's not entirely his fault, but
just a bit. 50% his fault. Poor Jared. Jared's probably listening in to this podcast right now, boys. I apologise, Jared, on Janath's behalf, mate. He's normally a lot better than that.
I apologise to you, Jared. Sorry, mate. Angry Chihuahua. Hey, legends. Looking for some advice on what to do with Jack Crisp. Okay. So this was a question I think DR teed up specifically for you, Dill. Hold or trade? Got 2 trades left. Need to save 1 trade to bring in a premium ruck. Is there a better option in the 500k range? So hold on here. So he's trying to bring in a premium ruckman. So the other trade would be to get rid of Crispy if that was the case. What would you do in there, mate?
Fortunately, I'd probably get rid of Crispy. But then it leaves you with no trades.
Would you get rid of Crispy? Like, at this point, he's not going to miss a game with the games record, knock on wood.
Absolutely.
So it's like, at least he's going to play every week. Hopefully.
Yeah, true. Yeah. I hope you don't just jinx him.
I don't know.
Do you reckon you've gone for the jinx? Jay Chris, ankle, round 19. You what?
Oh, no. Look, you could definitely hold. It could be. You could hold worse players than Crispy.
Yeah.
But he just got to hit some form and he'll be flying. So.
Yeah.
I'd
you'd
be
hold
holding
him
on
then,
to
mate?
Jake.
May as well just hold.
Sounds good. Well, thank you, mate, for coming on. I know that again, like we really appreciate you taking up this opportunity to come on and have a chat with us, talk through some of your season and answer a couple of the mailbag questions. So being able to put you in our shoes as well has been a great pleasure for us. DR Spills, I'm sure you guys agree.
Absolutely.
Not at all. Not at all. Bloody Collingwood supporters, mate. I was all good with Dill until you just brought up the grand final again. And then I wish I had invited Dill.
We're all about drive-bys here on the potty.
I must say, right, Dill was one of the few Collingwood supporters that was extremely humble last year in victory and actually sent me a DM at the time and said, mate, great game, all the rest. So I really did appreciate that.
That's what we love. We love that.
You're a great man.
Great man. And obviously supporting the podcast, supporting the RCH with that wonderful beanie on your head there, mate. So we appreciate your deal. And again, mate, open invitations, come on this channel anytime. You're a very important part of our community.
And just very quickly, a star baseball play in the making here. I know an Australian went first in the MLB a couple of years ago. I reckon we've got another one on our hands and on the channel right here.
Yeah. Awesome. Nah, love me baseball, but love this podcast. It's amazing. You guys do a fantastic job. Just keep it up. Really appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Great hearing that.
No worries, mate. Have a good night.
Anytime, buddy. Well, the next time we see you, might see a New York Yankees hat instead of that Swordplay beanie there, mate.
There we go.
Glad to be here.
I used to love the old fitted New York. They're the best. All right. Good on you, Dill.
Got a New York Yankees
hat. Hey, guys.
Absolutely. See you, brother.
Mate.
Bye, mate.
Thank you.
All right.
Legend after legend.
Boys.
We got such a good community. It's so good, isn't it? Like,
just the best.
Nothing but great words from everybody. So
that's it.
Now, I've got the pleasure of introducing the next guest. And I did introduce the great man Catta first off to start off this podcast. And this is another man that I go way back with, to the old supercoachtalk.com days. And one of the men that actually encouraged me to actually put a little bit of content out there. So if it wasn't for blokes like Dan and my man Catta, then the channel and this podcast may have never sort of come to fruition. So we are going to welcome to the stage my great mate, and I appreciate what he got for me lately as well, the old megaphone. My man, Dan Mashman, a.k.a. Freo Tragic, one of our favourites and someone you will recognise from many team previews over the years as well. Dan, thank you very much for joining us, legend. How you been, mate? Been a while.
Yes, thank you. Yes, I've known you for a while. You'd think I'd got better at Supercoach by now, but I keep making the same bloody mistakes. But yeah, that's you give me more trades and I make more mistakes. So I don't know how
that's happened.
I can relate to that. Now,
got a bit carried away this year with the trades.
Haven't we all, buddy? We'll touch on your trades in a minute. But for anyone that doesn't know, Dan's actually up in New South Wales, so very much a Freo man. But he has come on the channel to preview the Giants and the Swans in the preseason as well. Gave us some great goss on Darcy Jones preseason when no one was really having a look at him. Was a big fan of Darcy. So not only has he got great knowledge when it comes to the Freo boys, but also the other two New South Wales teams as well. So much appreciated, mate. But look, let's get in.
I got Darcy in for a week.
Oh, mate. Spills, you still got him.
And then I got Richards in for a week. That was great. In the same spot.
Story of the season, hey?
Jones and Richards, mate. Janath, the story of the season. Absolutely, mate. But tell us about your story for the season so far, Dan. How are you ranked so far, mate? Has it been one of those tougher seasons for you? How are you going at the moment, mate, rank-wise? And then we'll get into how many trades you got, buddy.
It's all a bit meh. I'm currently ranked 11,691. I did get into about 8K or something and then had a really bad week a couple of weeks ago. I've got Sard at D6, so he either goes like 60
Jonas
or...
boy.
Yeah, but he went 130 the other week. I didn't have much money to spend, and I can talk about it. But I missed a couple of the really good cash cows in one of the Garcia, the doggies Garcia, and I didn't start sharp and traded out sexy too early and all this stuff. So my team value was sort of a bit below. Ended up paying 700 for Gorn. You know, like, I don't know. I haven't paid up that much for players, but I've still managed to spend too much and just didn't get enough value at the start of the year. I started Rosie over Butters and made some pretty poor errors. So, yeah, I've ended up I sort of, go in and out between about 8K and 12K. So that's just been my lot. Have a couple of good weeks and then a poor week. And, it's just been the way it is. Sort of just outside the 8 in most of my leagues. It's like,
you're in touching distance, mate. You're in touching distance.
Maybe.
Now, how many trades are actually in the bank currently? Have you got a couple up your sleeve where you can make a late charge towards those Supercoach finals, mate?
Yeah, I've got one. I used one last week. I wasn't really sure on it, but to hold Heaney and Gorn, I would have been taking a donut in the forward line because I had Livingston there and I've got Dawson there. So I traded Biggie to Manor with my second trade just to open up the TPP with Dowling and just it structures up my team a lot better for coverage and stuff. So I've actually got a pretty decent bench. I've got Showmakers at D7. Schoenberg. I got him.
Just a killed bloke.
I get him mixed up. But yeah, I've got him and I've still got Clark. That was a disaster getting Clark over Sharp at the start of the year. There's 300K, 200K or something. Yeah, so that's one of those ones. But and Sharp's my boy. Like he's running the ring for Freo.
Yeah,
you're right. You're man.
Yeah, I know.
It was on your doorstep.
I got Clark and Carroll and Miss Sharp.
Yeah, that's
How bad's that? I thought I was a genius with Clark after round 0, but no, it wasn't the way.
Well, mate, take us back there. Take us back there to your starting team. Who is someone that you are absolutely wrapped that you started? Really, really nice starting pick for 2024 for yourself,
Dempsey.
mate. Oh, nice. Dempsey, yeah. Janath, you're on Dempsey.
Yeah, I got Dempsey.
Yeah, he was nice, little. I mean, I started Houston. He was a good starting pick. Like he's been up and down the last month, but he was definitely good for those first because he wasn't highly owned in the first start of the year. So he was a pretty good one to get on from the very beginning. I think he had about 6 weeks before he dropped below the ton. So I wasn't sure.
It's a great start. Yeah,
he was a starting pick. Dempsey was good.
Because I think then what happened was that he had his 2 best scores, or he had a couple of really good scores before people got on.
Yeah.
And so we sort of capitalized on those high scores. And then now more recently he's become the player we expected him to be at the start of the season, more consistent.
My starting team wasn't too bad. It was Rosie over Butters, I regretted. And I went Marshall over Gorn, which was the hugest one because Gorn pumped out some massive scores in that first month. And Marshall was just really bang average. And then I eventually paid up to get Marshall up to Gorn. And then Marshall went like 150 for 2 weeks in a row. And Gorn was doing like 110.
He so many people during that period, didn't he? So many people.
I mean, there's other people that started English at 700K. Like, if you didn't start Gorn and one of Cherry or Grundy, it just cooked the first bit of your season. Like, it was so hard to climb up the ranks or even just win league games and stuff because it wasn't just that with Gorn was going well. Everyone had him for captain. Yeah. You know, like, and I mean, I got him Sarong pretty early. That was pretty good trading. I got my man Anderson. I love him. He ended up the best of the Gold Coast boys.
Noah Coaster.
The Noah Coaster. Yeah.
Home game specialist. He loves
and no bet this week either. No Toby
Bedford,
Bedford this week.
Massive.
That is nice for the coaster. I think he's going to reach some good heights this week, just personally.
Well, when he goes good, he goes real good.
Doesn't he?
I mean,
Yes, super.
I had him last year for that 186 or 189 or whatever.
That's crazy. And
against Melbourne's midfield when it was firing. And I was just like, this kid's got potential if he can put that up against Melbourne. And so I was just, when I got a chance to, I jumped on him after his bye. I think it was round 6 or something. He's been a roller coaster, but I kind of like having at least one midfielder that, not many people have got, and it's like your little point of difference. And if he fires, you're a good shot to do well that week, So, and he's put up some decent scores. So I'll keep putting him in my team until 1 year he goes 125.
Love it, mate.
Just very quickly as a sub point DR when you was mentioning if you didn't start Grundy or Cherry and you started English, not only was the points lost, but I think there's never a point in the season where you could justify trade in English. So you kept missing out on those rookie cash gen generators like your Sweet, your Moyle, your Conway. It was like the revolving door at R2, R3 for many. But those that are English and gone, you're like, I can't trade these guys out. So you're missing out on the cash gen, or you have to plonk them on the bench. You're not getting the points either.
Yeah. Absolutely, mate. Good point. Yeah, the rucks.
I've used so many trades in the ruck. Like I traded Grundy at the wrong time. I traded Grundy to Cherry on price change because Grundy was looking shit. And so I went down to Cherry. I made 150 grand out of Cherry. He was good. I should have just kept him. But then he's the one that I traded out for Sweet.
Yeah. Bugger,
and I traded Grun and Marshall up to, I mean, it all made sense at the time, but looking back, it's like I should have just kept on to Cherry, but I was missing out on this other cash gen, so I needed to try and get. I traded Sweet to Moyle, and then Moyle back to Grundy. So there's like 5 trades.
I don't reckon there's one coach out there that has not traded out someone and then traded the same person back in. Just at least one player. There's so many, isn't there? The Martins, the Youngs, the Grundys, the Fishers, the Rankins, McKercher, another prime example. I don't reckon there's one coach, unless they've just been completely good. There's no one getting this bloke back in. I'm done with him.
I was tempted to go back to Martin, but I was like, they could mess with his role, and Ridley had just come back. And I was like, the other thing is, because there was so many other options in defence, I didn't feel like I had to go there to take that risk of going back to him. If he was in the forward line, you would have, like Fisher, you jumped straight back on Fisher because there wasn't many other options in the forward line. This is before Caldwell and stuff. So I got back on Fisher at 380K and he did well for a few weeks. I got off him to Clark just recently, which was good because he was in my defence.
Yeah. I've got Clark as a pod. Very good. Very good pick.
Decent pod for the run home. And I like owning him because he's a Freo player. So that was something.
It's always good.
I took even more enjoyable potential option pre-season, but didn't have the balls to go there. And he's been very solid. I might even look at him next year because he'll definitely keep that defender status.
Well, that's a great segue, mate, because the next question is, who is someone that you're looking to lock in next year in 2025? Is there someone that you can just lock in now and throw away the key, unless obviously major injury strikes or disaster occurs?
Yeah, I'm not sure how the pricing is going to go, but I mean, Dacos and Sheasel are two that I think of straight away. They're just like young guns. They'll both be kind of reasonably priced, fairly priced. I can't see them going backwards. Maybe if Collingwood regresses a little bit, Dacos might cop some attention. He might go, but he's just solid. And Sheasel's just a very underrated player in my book. I reckon he's going to be great. So those guys, and Mills, if he gets forward status, he played fair bit forward this week. He might end up.
Interesting. Spills his boy.
I'm on my boy.
So imagine if Mills gets forward status next year, and we've got Bailey Smith and Mills at like
Mills. I still wouldn't pick him. I'd still say I would, and then not pick him.
Yeah, he'll be in every one of your preseason team deals, and then when one comes out, he's nowhere to be seen.
Where is he?
And I hope he
Dan-
scores a 150.
Dan,
yeah,
you're
sorry,
seeing
boy,
F1 to 3 of Rankin, Baz Smith, Callum Mills. How jigsaw puzzle is that? Like, that's just disgusting to think about.
Absolutely, mate.
And
Absolutely.
they'll all be out week 3 with injury.
Yeah, I know.
Or suspension.
What are we doing? What are
One
we
or the
doing?
other.
Yeah. When we're
Mate.
trying to adjust our sides and get in the best rookies, we'll lose them all with injury.
I could so see that happening, mate. Talk about a lesson, Dan. Something
Okay.
you've really learnt this year. As I said, mate, you've been playing for years and years, as have I, and people like Catta as well. But
Yeah.
as I have mentioned, 2024 has been a bit of a different beast. Is there something in particular at this stage of the season, still a little while to go, that you're really going to take and maybe implement next year, mate, with your starting side? Or
Yeah, there's something. I mean, I don't know if you guys you heard reverting to the mean, but I just think that you've got to sort of stick with your gut over. Like, for instance, Martin, we thought he could average 100 to 105, and he had a few poor scores at the beginning of the year, and people jumped off. And it's like, if you think he's going to average that, then more than likely his next few scores are going to be 120s to get him back up there. You know what I mean? Like, so this is what tends to happen. And the same the other way with someone like Matty Rao. Like, I pegged him as maybe a 105 to 110 guy, and he comes out and averages like 137 for the first 5 weeks. It's like,
he's a 70s man.
He's going to go backwards to some degree. Now, he could have gone way more than I thought and still averaged like 115 or something, 120. But he still would have been scoring 90s for a month or 6 weeks. So jumping on someone when they've just had a huge streak, you're more likely it's 9 times out of 10 it's going to fail for you. You're better off looking at fallen premiums like a Dawson. Started horribly, but he's a talented player. He's going to come back and put up some good scores. So jumping on him at his base price, I mean, he's still been a bit up and down, but he was good value when he did come back, you know. So I think that's the main thing, not getting carried away with the trades and sort of holding your players a bit early is one thing I'll be looking at next year. Because we're all like, they got 40 trades. If someone puts up a 60 and you trade them out. I mean, I've got to stop watching bloody Skodfather as well. He dumps people. Like, seriously. The guy gets to 85. He's like, he's not a premium. I'm getting rid of him. I'm like, oh, geez.
That's so funny.
love it. Absolutely love it.
I mean, you just got to be a bit patient sometimes.
Oh, legend.
That's right, mate. Well, I'll tell you what, Dan, you are a very knowledgeable super coacher, mate. So we need your help here. Well, more specifically, AJ needs your help here. AJ says, first time poster, but long time listener. First of all, AJ, thank you very much, mate. And we appreciate your support and appreciate you chucking a question out there, buddy. Thank you very much, mate. I have 2 trades left and 130K. Isn't that nice to have that money banked? Really, really handy.
It helps me a lot.
Absolutely, Jules. Dan, is it worth using one of my last 2 trades? I'm being AJ here to bring in Humphreys. Well, we can't say Philippou, to bring in Humphreys as bench cover and to loop with an up and down primo, or best to save those trades for injuries. So he's got 2 trades left. Is it worth using one of those trades to get someone like a Humphreys in, or would you simply keep those 2 banked, mate, and save them for a rainy primo carnage day? What do you reckon, Dan?
Yeah, I just had a look at his team. I think he's actually got decent bench cover there. Like, it's not too bad. He doesn't even have Gawn to cover if Gawn's out this week. He's got Dowling that he can switch up into the midfield. He's got Clark in the midfield, and he's got Shuey up there in defence. So I don't think I'd use a trade on Humphreys. What I'd look at is something like, you know, hold your couple of trades if you need one for an injury. And if in a couple of weeks someone like Rankine comes back, trade out, like if Darcy's back, trade a Dogger or someone like that to a Rankine and use that extra money there. And, improve one of your lower end premiums as a luxury trade in a couple of weeks, sort of when finals are about to hit, or if you really need to make a final or something, maybe look at getting in a pod with one of your weaker links if they've got a hard matchup or a tag or something like that. I'd rather use it strategically than just in case you need it as bench cover, because he's got decent bench cover there anyway.
Beautiful. I absolutely agree with that, mate. Absolutely agree. I think the other three of us would as well. Beautiful advice, Dan. The next one is from Nathan King. G'day, Nath. Nath has 6 trades left. You can get stuff, Nathan. Go with your 6 trades, and I can tell you, mate. Is it wise for Nath to hold until Supercoach finals? So remember, for anyone that's not aware of this, the last 4 weeks of the regular AFL season make up our Supercoach finals. So got a couple of weeks to try to sneak into that top 8. He's mindful that some premiums who'll be playing finals in real life, so obviously in the AFL top 8, after round 24 might rest a week or 2 prior to finals. Now, some teams have been notorious for doing this in the past, resting players. And hey, I'm not saying it's not a smart thing to do. If you're in that position, it's a bit of a luxury. Some players prefer just to get that continuity and don't like missing weeks. But Dan, what would be your advice here, mate? 6 trades left. Are we holding until finals, or are you happy to burn at least maybe a couple of these to bolster the side before you actually get to the last 4 weeks, mate? What do you reckon?
Yeah, I'd use 2 to improve your side straight away.
Yeah.
Because you get the maximum effort out of it. So if you've got a weak league on one line, don't afraid to go one up, one down. Preferably keep yourself some cover. But, yeah, use some money. Get your worst player up to one of the best players on that line. And then save the 4 if you want. Like, you might get a bit of carnage next week. You can use one then or whatever. But, yeah, I mean, for all, if you're in playing for leagues, by all means, save a couple of trades for the finals. But with 6 trades left, you're not getting the maximum use out of them unless you use them now. Because if you're getting a player up from your worst, like someone that's averaging, say, 85, if you can get them up to 120 or 110, it's 15 a week. Yeah. That's not going to help you much for 2 weeks in finals. You might as well do it now and get the maximum output out of it.
Can I add something up to this as well? With 2nd to 13 separated by 2 games, you've got 13 teams basically gunning for 8 spots. Well, really 12 teams gunning for 7 spots with Sydney out of it. So the likelihood that a lot of players will be resting, unless you're talking about sort of Richmond, North, West Coast premium, there's probably not going to be many players that are just going to be put on ice real quick. Like I know last year Geelong did it where they put in a couple of guys early for surgery so they come back earlier for preseason. But with how close the season is right now, it's just too hard to say that player's going to be rested or not. And you've always got the pre-finals bye anyway for a player to rest. And I don't think that you would give a player, unless they're one of the older players, like a 32, 33-year-old, an extended break leading up to finals, because you want to have them in tip-top shape, game ready, match ready for finals sort of pressure environment. Which I reckon a lot of the relevant Supercoach players this season, like if you look at this team, for instance, the only premiums that I can see in this team that aren't in the finals race are Steele, Marshall, Sheasel. The rest of them are in a team that is in the finals race. So I don't think like most teams will have those kind of players.
I think this isn't that guy's team. This team that we're looking at.
I understand that, but I'm like saying, like in general, most of the premiums we have play for teams that are in those top 13 teams.
Yeah, I also think that planning on stuff that might just happen and stuff is always risky. Like it's not. Playing with ifs is just not the way to play the game. If it happens, it happens. Like you've just got to, you just got to do what you can now to get the best results. Especially
like look at Windhager getting injured. Like you would have, with some of us might have planned to not bring in a player that could have been tagged by Windhager, and then he wasn't tagging in the game that got injured, and then now he's injured anyway. So it's like, that makes it quite difficult.
Yeah, the Supercoach gods are being nice to us by injuring taggers.
Or suspended them.
Yeah, well, I mean, after the carnage of last week with like all those premiums going down, they're like, it's only tweaking an ankle or something. It's nothing major. just get him out for 3 or 4 weeks so he can make finals. Anyway, how are you doing down there, Spills? Sorry, mate. We're not.
No, very, very well, mate. No, yeah, it's good to hear your insight, and it's just great to hear like someone else's feedback on the questions as well. Usually, we've got to do a lot of preparation to answer the questions, but we get a little bit of a, I suppose, third person opinion as well, which is always great. Yeah. So that's why I love the community, because everyone's got. There's always good advice everywhere you go, and particularly yourself, mate. Been playing the game for a while and go way back with DR. So yeah, it's good.
Yeah, one thing I was just going to mention, and you had in the questions, was about what I liked about the potty, and I do. I just love the everyone's varied opinions on stuff and how they see the game, and we all do things slightly differently, and I think that's what the joy of a community is about, is that people come up with their own little ideas on things, and you can take it on board, and doesn't have to necessarily change your selections and stuff, but it's definitely there's flags that we can all take on board, and different stuff that we can share with each other. And that's one thing I was going to say about your potty, is that I'd like to see like a little strategy section, because the strategy for Supercoach kind of changes as you go through. At the beginning, it's about fixing up your team, and then it goes into like upgrade season, and then like getting the best of the best towards the buys, and how you manage your team. And I just think it'd be interesting to get you guys input. I know you do a lot of fun stuff as well, but I think that's quite a sort of serious way of looking at Supercoach, and people will get a lot out of it if they're, especially like younger coaches and stuff, is like how we see different parts of the year and how we look at setting up our teams, during these, and what we prioritize, someone like Philippou now is, and I know he's injured, but it's like he would have been an awesome selection at like round 6 or something, but even now, like, unless you're getting him as a 23rd, it's like, is it worth paying up the extra money to have someone sitting there on your bench and use one of your last trades? And I think all those sort of discussions are just really important. Yeah.
Beautiful feedback, mate. Much appreciated. Mate. Really appreciate Janath, you can take over that section, mate, the strategy section, when we implement that one, buddy. Spills and I'll just take a back seat, mate, have a coffee.
We always
I guess you can organise that one.
I guess on that point, Dan, we do that in an indirect way, but I think we can be a bit more direct and not take for granted that people know, okay, this is the time to make a upgrade. Yeah. This is the time to do that sort of thing.
You do touch on it when you're talking about different trades and stuff specifically. Yeah. But I just think, it wouldn't even have to be every episode. I just think as we transition into different sections of the game, you can talk more specifically about that, getting the best rookies in, or, what we're looking at value still in the early parts of the upgrade season, because you don't want to really pay up top dollar for people. And then, coming into your last couple of upgrades, you can sort of maximize the amount of money you spend, or do you go to a 23rd? Like, do you get the best of the best, or do you look at getting a 23rd and looping and that sort of strategy and discussion? So
love it. Like the Supercoach calendar. Maybe every month, gents, we'll look at doing that, like what's on for the month type thing, strategy for the month. Dan, cannot thank you enough for coming on again, mate. We know that you are a trio tragic. You're also a bit of a Supercoach tragic. As we've said, known you for years, mate. You've been on the channel many times before, mate. You never disappoint. Again, thank you so much, mate, for the lovely gift. I'll tell you what, we'll be absolutely blasting this, mate. I really do.
I want to see a little bit of footage of you yelling at the kids through that.
Done. Done, mate. Done.
I think we need to see that, like on Twitter, of just you yelling at the kids in the gym through
the dark side of DR with these confusing all the kids.
He's too nice. He's too nice, man.
Don't you worry, mate. I'll get in.
Well, great chatting with you guys. Thanks for having me on, and I'll look forward to going back and watching everyone else that's been on, and yeah, it looks like a good one. It's gone for quite a while now, so I better let you go.
Good on you, Dan. Much appreciated, mate. You take care, brother.
Cheers,
Thanks again, mate.
Good one.
Bye, buddy. Dan. I tell you what a man he is. What a man Dan the
great
man
bloke.
is. Great bloke. And I tell you what, as I said, just known Dan for years and years and years. So Janath, I have not had the pleasure of meeting this man. You've talked about him a lot. And I tell you what, if he's a mate of yours, then we know that he's going to be a ripping type human. But I cannot wait to meet the next man. I'm going to get his lovely pic on the screen here. Introduce our next guest for us, Janath. Very exciting times, mate.
This man, I didn't quite meet him through the Supercoach community. I met him at work. So I was, for some of you guys that may know, I'm a medical researcher by day, sitting at a biosafety cabinet, and just someone comes over and they're like, "Are you Janath from the Swordplay podcast?" And that was, you talk about a head wobble. That gave me a proper head wobble, all right. This is Daniel. So great to have you on, mate. We've been hyping you coming up on the podcast for a couple of weeks now. The casual bands, I'm sure everyone else on our floor has had enough of us talking gibberish about Jack Steele being a spud. And
come on. No, he has been. He's sitting in my team not doing much at the moment, so
it's great to have you on, Daniel. Right. It's so if you just want to and we just want to crack straight into and just talk about your side. What's been happening? Where you ranked at the moment? What does your team look like? Go on, mate.
Yeah, no worries, guys. First of all, good to see you, Janath. Nice to meet you, DR and Spills. And
you too, brother.
Yeah,
my man.
That was funny.
It's on the podcast if you work with Janath. So
I don't know about that. I think Janath's maybe the smarter one. You didn't mention first when I first kind of met Janath at work. I'd heard his voice and I recognized it and I saw him. I'm like, is it Janath from the podcast or not? It took me a couple of days to like build up the confidence to go up and be like, hey,
Clearly, this man has not taken Jules' advice, DR.
That's right. On the opposite. Yeah. No, thanks for coming on, mate. It's a pleasure to have you on, mate. Pleasure.
No worries. Yeah, so at the moment, ranked 7,900. So only going kind of okay. I was floating around 5K and below. The best I got was just under 4K, and then the last round of the bye was absolutely disastrous for me. I dropped about 6K ranks in that one round.
Wow. That's a stinger, isn't it?
See, I thought I'd planned all right for it, but obviously I didn't. So that wasn't great. So yeah, that's kind of been the story of my year. Is I've kind of hovered for the first half of the year up until the buys. I hovered around the 5K mark for ages, and then I dropped down a heap of ranks in 1 week, and I've clawed back a little bit in the last couple of weeks. Yeah, so that's basically the story of my year. Hoping goals for the rest of the year. I'm just going to try and get back up to see if I can make it to 5K. I'm not sure I will. I've only got 1 trade left, so we'll see how that goes. Otherwise, I'm in a cash league with some mates, and I'm sitting 5th. So try and get in the top 4 and see if I can get.
I reckon that's a good goal. You'll get a bit of cash, get a bit of cash money out of you from the season. On that regard, Dan, who would you say has been your best starting pick?
I thought a bit about this one too, because at first I was like, am I going to say Gore and am I going to say Butters, like the obvious guys? And I was also thought, maybe I'll look at some of the rookies that I got in my starting team. And I was like, the 2 Darcys, Darcy Wilson and Sean Darcy carried me for a little bit. Then I looked at my backline. I thought, Harry Sheasel. I started Harry Sheasel, and he's just sitting there. I haven't thought about him much all year. He's just been doing his job. So I'm quite happy with Harry Sheasel for the year. Yeah,
very solid pick, mate.
It's a very solid pick.
Yeah.
And
that's good point you raised about not having to worry about own a player. Not thinking about a player all year is like a great reflection that they've been a good pick because you haven't had to worry about them. So that's a great point there.
Yeah,
it's so interesting, isn't it, Dan? That we focus so much about the rucks, and we're like, let's set and forget our rucks, and we don't have to worry about them. But it goes for other positions. I feel like day costs, not starting him, having to worry about him having to drop a stinker to actually be able to get him in. Like, there's just so much unnecessary stress which he just induced from having to do that.
Yeah,
Whereas
exactly.
someone like a Diesel, Dacos, Heaney, Bont, Butters, like you just have these guys and you just know what you're going to get from them week in, week out, that sort of thing.
Yeah, they all just do their job and you only have to worry about them if they get injured. Yeah.
There are some players that don't do that job. Let's go on to the flip side here, mate. Who's the pick you regret the most?
You can probably guess. The guy that's caused me the most grief is probably Jordan Dawson, closely followed by Tom Liberatore.
You're on the loose road then.
I was on the Libert Dawson train at the start. Yeah. So I spent probably too long thinking about whether I was going to trade or hold Dawson. I ended up trading him a week after his price drop. I'm like, because I was talking to Janath, he's like, look, hold him. I'm like, all right, I'll hold him one more week. And then he still went rubbish, so I traded him. And then I ended up trading him back in for 550Ks like a couple of weeks later. And he's still only going, he's going a bit better now. But yeah, now I'm looking at him right now and he's sitting at 490 and I'm like, oh, well.
But again, Dan, I think this is just, again, I think I was talking with you about this. The fact is you started Dawson and Libber for the safety. You're like, the worst that's going to happen is they're going to average 110, right? As opposed to Butters, who just got injured in preseason, LDU's been injured. And you're just oh my goodness, how this could not have gone any worse, really.
Yeah, that was exactly my thought process. I thought Dawson and Libber are pretty safe. There's been a bit of injury concerns around some of the other premiums that everyone's starting. So I thought I'll take the safe too, and we'll be okay. And then I won't have to. But yeah, the opposite happened.
Yep.
And in terms of, all right, is there a play that you've locked in right now for next year?
That's a good question too. I heard, I forget who it was. I heard someone earlier say Matthias Philippou, and as a Saints supporter, I kind of like the sounds of that too myself. But we'll see how he goes. Also, just almost every year, the first player I pick is gone pretty much every year. So it's probably going to be gone. He's going to be the first guy I pick in my team again next year. So we'll go with Gone for that one.
This is going to be a really interesting discussion point because I'm willing to bet that I think next year is the first year where we don't think of Max Gawn as a first pick ruckman. I think next year we'll be blessed with plenty of ruck options. Gawn's going up a year. We've just seen recently with the injuries. I think this is the last year where we see the really big ceiling, like on a consistent basis. Like even
be expensive
the last couple
too.
Weeks haven't been great. Yeah, he'll be expensive. He doesn't have the value in build between. We'll get Cherry, Grundy, Gawn, possibly TDK. I know I'm missing someone. Meek. Those we're going to see a big pool of players, but look, you can't go past Maxi Gawn, can you, Dan?
Yeah, no, I probably won't personally, but yeah, there is a lot of really good rucks available next year. You're right, they've kind of all come out in the second half of the year.
And do you know what? I'm a bit embarrassed to say this because I know the other two boys, they jumped on this, but one of the chats which I vividly remember we had was I think it was a Friday afternoon, and it was before when the Lions and North and the Swans had just come off their bye, and we had a good rational discourse about who to bring in. And this was the chat which I convinced myself that Josh Dunkley was the right pick, which was looking good until 2 weeks ago. Mind you. What I was saying, Dan, like the new holding the ball rule's going to the new holding the ball rule's going to work in his favor. And like Loch and Neal's going to get tagged. We just had a look at the runs. Like, this is what I mean. Like, I don't know how we get away with this sometimes, where we're just talking Supercoach. It's just nonsense.
Yeah, I know, right? In the middle of the
stuff.
Nothing important going on at work.
Going through Brisbane's fixture, being like, oh, Lockie could get tagged here. He could get tagged here.
Yeah, like could get tagged. Probably get tagged here. He's 31 years old. He can't carry this form on. Dunks, he's a bit younger. He's got the runs on the board. Tackling machine. This was just, mind you, this was just when the new holding the ball interpretation came in. I'm like,
Yeah, then you're holding the balls in, all the tackles
lap
in the
this
back.
up, and he has. The worst part about this, Dan, is that that part of the pick has gone exactly to plan. Like Dunkley's not been a bad pick at all, except this other guy, Chalky Neal.
Yeah, exactly. Dunkley's gone well too, but then Neil's just gone bananas. So.
And it's such an interesting crossroads to look back on when we had Neil, Dunkley, LDU, Tom Green, Errol Gould, and Chad Warner. You probably say two of them are massive tick in Neil and Dunkley, and probably Goulden. You could probably say LDU being probably above average. If you got him in, you're probably not kicking yourself.
You're still happy
with it.
Yeah, happy enough.
But if you brought in Tom Green or Chad Warner at that avenue, you're just like, especially at the price for Chad Warner. I think it was 6 or 8K. Or you could have easily got Neil or Dunkley.
He was top price.
You're just like,
Yeah, one of average. Yeah.
It's one of those just sliding door moments, mate. Look,
Yeah,
we'll go on to the next one because I think, like those sliding door moments, it's really important to reflect on our lessons from this year or just any looking forward to next year. What's the main lesson you take out of this year, mate?
Yeah, I think an important one is probably similar to what I'm not sure what everyone else has said, but I imagine a lot of similar sentiments where I just feel like at the start of the year I shotgun trading too many premiums, thinking I've got 40 trades. This guy scored 60. I don't need to hold him. I can just trade him, and I'll sell a heap of trades later at the end of the year. And I've ended up. How many premiums have I traded out and traded back in? Martin, Dawson.
Yeah, we've all done it.
I traded Grundy for English. Should have just kept Grundy. Yeah.
Martin? Young?
Martin. Yeah, Martin. I didn't end up bringing Young back in because I had extra cash, so I got Ryan. I was this close to getting him back in, though.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right.
But it's so hard, isn't it? Because you see these players and like it's almost as if you can just put away your Supercoach team the first couple of weeks and just back in the players that you picked because you picked them for a reason. But I think it's so much about that recency bias. You see a poor score and you're like, oh, far out. Why? Like for instance, with Nick Martin, we took the first game, had about 30 touches, scored about 60 or something. And the second game, he had about 30 touches, he scored 9. You're like, well, he's getting the possessions, but he's not scoring. So something's got to be wrong. But then when he actually fixes up his kicking, he goes back to that form. And now he's just in a role where you never know what the role's going to be on a week-to-week basis. So it's just like one of those picks where...
Still gets it done every week, which is great.
He does, but you're like, you just wish you had a player that was more secure in one role and you know what you can get from them. But that's a great lesson there learned, Dan. Thanks very much for that. In terms of now just some feedback, I know you listen on a week-to-week basis because I get the intel straight up following day.
Got some comments. Yeah.
Have a listen up.
This could be good then.
We'd love to hear some feedback about the potty from you, mate.
I'm afraid to disappoint you. Honestly, as an avid listener, I think what you guys do is pretty great. I just chuck it on my way to and from work and listen to your chat for half the time, and it's pretty good stuff. I know you love to get sidetracked and have a bit of a gas bag.
Oh, we do, man. It's bad. It's really bad. That stuff, this sort of behaviour, it wouldn't fly.
It's a great listen though because it's quite entertaining. So
But you know what, Dan? I don't think we don't purposely add the entertainment factor. It's literally just what comes.
Just trying to talk.
We try to avoid it, to be honest. We want to stay on track, but then it just happens. Like you wouldn't get it anywhere else. Imagine watching Footy Classified, and then they just start gas bagging about something.
And I'll tell you, Janath organised this. We've been given this rundown. He's like 15 minutes each, boys. Blah blah blah. After Catta, we're at half an hour. It's
we're an hour over. Yeah,
it's gonna be
so hard to get this rabble on track. But,
so we're doing it now, Dan. So that's the example right there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, thank you.
Every single one of your legends has deserved the amount of time that you've been given. So
100%.
We knew it was never going to happen. So it was just optimistic thinking.
Oh yeah.
Let's get on to these questions then, Dan. Thanks so much for your feedback. We're going to put you in the hot seat here. So, mind you, answer them how you will. E18, another legend of the channel, always gives us a question as well. Hey, blokes, and hey, Dan here. First, thanks to all three of you for all your efforts. It's really appreciated. A big reason as to why I'm having my best season today. Oh, thank you very much. That's why we do the podcast. We want to help out as many people as possible. I have 5 trades left. Wow. And I'm wanting to upgrade Steel. Oh, this is perfect, isn't it, Dan? Look at this. This is the perfect question for you.
Yeah, I know, right?
Who's the best upgrade target out of Neil, LDU, Merritt, or Sinclair?
Ooh, I'm looking forward to this.
That's a tough one.
I assume he has the money for all of them with one
You're
trade.
allowed to say Sinclair. Do you want to back in your boy, mate? Back in your boy.
He just doesn't want to offend us. He doesn't want to offend us because he knows.
Honestly, after me and Janath spend all the time bagging Lockie Neal, you almost have to go Lockie Neal, don't you?
We don't bag him.
They're coming around.
Good answer.
No, all right. I'll
flying.
spill the beans here. Our extent of bagging Lockie Neal is if you're a footy club and you've got a dual Brownlow medalist in the opposing midfield, why are you not putting a lick of attention on him?
It's a good point.
Speculation. Just let Chalky Neal do his thing. You can't tag the ground ball gets and he's just that good. It's hard.
He's so good. He's such a good player. But then who would you go? You don't need to be biased. You don't need to impress anyone here. Who would you pick if you were in Kamo's position?
Look, if I'm taking off my bias, funnily enough, I traded in Sinclair last week. If I'm getting rid of my bias and I had enough money and 5 trades left, I'm probably going for Neil.
Yeah.
I'd agree, mate. I'd agree. I'll probably have Sinclair second though, just because I like that DPP. Would you be different?
Yeah, Merritt is up there.
I'd go LDU second, Sinclair third,
Really?
Merritt last. Merritt.
Yeah.
I think that
I'd probably
Carlton
run with
thing
that,
sort
Janath.
of
Yeah.
sucked
You
a
saying,
couple
mate?
of people
Yeah.
in about his
Yeah.
ability to break a tag because he had 10 tackles that game, and I reckon there was about 4 holding the balls in that. So the 125 wasn't actually quite reflective of his ability to break the tag, but rather his ability to get around the ground. And now we've seen Geelong tag 78, Melbourne tagged 82. Like, you can't predict tags, and luckily Windhager's injured. Sorry, Dan.
Yeah.
For the Saints matchup.
Oh,
But-
I'm not sorry.
Sorry, not sorry.
We needed that.
But like Merritt's ability to break a tag I don't think is at the level needed to be higher on that list. LDU, after the Blues matchup this week, he's got Geelong, Richmond, West Coast. Yeah. And they're 3 prime matchups when inside mid, and that's why I really like the pick after Lockie, because Lockie is just on another level right now. I can't believe that he's going for his 3rd Brownlow at his age. Like, it's he's one of those players, and sorry for the tangent, Dan, this is right to your point, but when you think about all-time greats, you think Dusty, you think Buddy, you think Gadge, Gary Ablett Jr., and they all have this certain personality, but you never think about Lockie Neal. I think we need to start respecting the fact that he's going to be an all-time great. And just because he's short and he's not the stock standard marketable footballer, that we can't just
it. I reckon that's the reason.
Out of this discussion that he's a genuine top 10, top 15 AFL player for all time.
Yeah, we all rave about Cripper and Bond, but what about Lockie Neal? He's the same height as me,
and he doesn't play in Victoria. I think it's a big part of it as well.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Cool. Sorry, Dan. We'll just go into this second one because I don't know how you're going to answer this because I don't know how to answer this either.
Sorry, I just
three-way switches in terms of DPP when you have no trades left. Ooh.
You have no trades left.
No, do you know what? I reckon, do you know what? Give the optimize button a crack.
But he doesn't want to use optimize. I've read the thread there because if you use optimize, he can't revert the optimize.
Oh, is there a thread to this? Can't you revert the optimize?
I don't think you can.
No. Unless if you have trades, you can undo your trades. If you can undo your trades.
But you have no trades. You're not undoing
Yeah,
anything.
he doesn't have any trades, so he can't undo his trades. Therefore,
Oh, he can't undo because there's no trade.
Do you remember when we optimized and we stitched ourselves up like a few weeks ago? Like
Yeah,
before
I do,
lockout?
mate.
Yeah, so
I
that'll
do.
happen.
Like we
You can't
noticed.
get out of it because you can't reverse it
I
because
think
you
he
have no
needs to have a
trades.
trade to be able to do that. But
But how about
there was a
if
thread
you're just
there.
to remove someone from your bench to your field? Because that's technically you're undoing a change, aren't you? Or does it have to be you have to make a trade to undo changes? That's interesting.
Maybe you're right because it is undo change. It's not undo trades.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Okay.
in the
Who's
thread,
willing
The
to
undo
try?
changes might do it. Yeah.
Spills, take one for the team here, mate.
take off
Try optimize Spills, take one for the team, mate.
Let's
It's a community pod.
dogs. The biggest
take
advice
the
I'd
ball
give
for
to
the
you.
community, Spills.
Because
Come
I've
on,
got
mate.
no trades. After this week, I'm definitely not going to have any trades. I guarantee you that. Don't get me
biggest
started.
advice
Yeah,
I'd
I
give
I don't want to talk about Matt Rao
Jack, you
anymore.
under the
boys.
bus,
Don't
mate.
get me
By the way, Spills, I have Real as well. So
Oh, look at your brothers in arms.
What are you doing about it, man? You're jumping
oh,
off it.
I don't know. I want to get rid of him, but I'm scared to.
I'm not scared to at all. I'd much rather lose trades and
Yeah. I looped him for Humphreys last week. I took Humphreys 105 and 108. It worked out.
Hey,
that's a god move, man. That's a luxury that I wish I had. But instead, I just copped
Love
it at
that.
M8 and
That's sick.
basically cried myself to sleep. It's another
Very
story.
very quickly for
upsetting.
A dogs. Whatever you do, don't mess around with it after the round starts. Because you can't definitely do undo changes after the round starts. So whatever you do, if you choose to optimize or whatever and undo change, you may be able to do it throughout, but not once the round starts, mate.
Maybe Kamo should do it. He's got 5 trades, so maybe Kamo should be the one to take one for the community here.
Take one for the
rather
team.
than for all the trade there left. Come on, Kamo. Only joking. Don't ever do that, mate. Sorry.
Oh.
Alrighty.
Oh, it's been brilliant having you on, Dan.
Thanks for inviting me.
It's been a pleasure seeing you and your infectious smile come on to the channel. Have a good chat, good yarn about how bad Jack Steele and Matt Rao are. And hopefully we can get some of the others on the level to start playing Supercoach next year as well.
Yep, sounds good. All right, thanks for having me, guys. Cheers.
Right, Dan.
Have a good night,
It's a
mate.
pleasure to meet you, mate. And as I said, we've heard a lot about you before. It is genuinely all good, mate. But all the best of luck for the rest of the season. Rather, all the best of luck at work. And can't wait to have another chat again soon, mate.
And just very quickly to pump up Dan, this man's a doctor right here. He's got his own PhD. He's going to get his PhD in a couple of months.
And we didn't introduce him as Dr. Dan?
Not yet. He's a couple more months.
Too early.
Give it 2 months.
All right.
No,
well,
go the early
waiting for my results still.
I'm backing you, Dan.
He's getting it. Dr. Dan.
Well, we know that the DR in my name doesn't stand for doctor. If you want a real doctor, look at this man down the bottom here. And he'll hook you up. Dan, it's been a pleasure, mate. Thanks again, buddy.
Right. Thanks.
See you,
Cheers,
mate.
guys. Nice to meet you, Dion Spills. Catch you later.
Good on you,
Bye,
mate.
buddy. What a legend. Janath, I can see why you're always talking this great man up, mate. What an
He's a
absolute legend of the
Proper
community.
legend.
Boys, we have one more special guest to come on. And let me tell you, I'm not even introducing this person, but I've got a lot of love for this next guest. Spilsy, I believe that you have the pleasure and the honor of actually introducing our final guest on for the Community Appreciation Pod, mate.
Yeah, I do. It's a great pleasure. So we got Ange coming on. Massive in the Supercoach community, and she's always liked and commented on my things, and she goes pretty well. Very diehard Collingwood supporter as well. And I'm just reading in the chat as well. She's saying, "Don't do it, Spills." I think she's referring to trading Matt Rao out. So I'm interested to hear her take on that. But if you're with us, Ange, I hope we haven't kept you too late. But how you doing?
I'm doing well. Now I'm tired, not going to lie, but I'm absolutely stoked to be here. I don't want to forget this, Spills. I went really hard last year with trades, ran out of them, I think not long after the buys, which was just insane. And when you hit optimizer with no trades, you can quickly check where it's flipped things because it'll put blokes from the forward line in the back line. Like it'll do swings that you can't do yourself and you can't reverse it. Like if you can quickly check what you've done and then click the X on the side to get rid of it, but otherwise you're stuck with it if you've got no trades. Like you're stuck with it. It happened to me last year. Can't remember who I had stuck in the back line. But, yeah, they were scoring on the bench while I was copping donuts elsewhere because I couldn't shift them after that. And, yeah, it was a burn. It was a hard burn. So I've been there. I've done that little social experiment with Supercoach. Do not recommend.
No, I'm scared to hear it. I don't go anywhere near that button.
I think it happened to Godfather Abs last year as well. He couldn't get out of it. Yeah.
I wish I didn't miss that one.
Yeah, but I am so stoked to be here, and I just wanted to say, Janath, the work that you do and at Third Man Up, like that's elite work, like super elite work. DR, I don't think it's any secret that you're a school teacher. You talk about it often, and I know that school teacher. My brother is also a school teacher. And the kids are more to him than just students, and they're not just 9 to 3:30 kids either. It's much, much more than that. So he teaches in high school, and it is a lot of work after hours too. And you've got to be some kind of incredible human being to be apologising to us that you can't do the stocky because your school laptop, which also happened to my brother, by the way. So I know it's a thing, like it's really a thing.
Oh, no,
it got stolen and you're apologising to us for not having stocky slides.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. He's the best bloke ever, and he doesn't even realise it.
You are too kind, and Ange, you are right. They are much more than students. They are my Supercoach minions. Absolutely. Do all my research for me. No,
that's good from you, DR.
They are like the kids. You got to treat your kids like they're your own kids. Give them a whack up the bum when they need it. A bit of a arm across your shoulder when they do as well. But Ange, that is beautiful, beautiful feedback, and that's one of the reasons why I invited you on. Just want to get a bit of a head bobble. So thank you very much, Ange. That is lovely of you, my friend.
I'm not done yet. I know you guys are too gentlemanly to drive me by, so I'm going to drive by myself a lot here, and I'm cool with that. But, and Spills, what you put on Twitter with regards to mental health, the response to that was phenomenal. Yeah, and, I personally want to, let you know that was gutsy, my friend. It was really gutsy. Yeah. It was courageous. The response to it was incredible. And, it's a lot of the reason why I admire the three of you so much, the charities that you donate to, all of that kind of stuff, the family-friendly content. It's a pleasure to watch Swordplay and everything that you do individually as well. So I just wanted to make sure I mentioned that. Tip of the Swordplay beanie to you three.
Thank you, sir.
I really appreciate that. That's awesome.
It looks wonderful on you, Ange. It is absolutely meant for you. That looks fantastic, Ange. Thank you very much, mate.
Really brings out the colours in the black and white photo. So I'm enjoying it. It's good to have a bit of green there.
Yeah, nice bit of green there, Spills.
The green, absolutely. It does fit.
It does, and of course, the only drive-by I'm probably going to do is like the picture that is in the thumbnail, and the attire that I'm wearing is clear drive-by to you, DR. Clearly, it is. It's a drive-by in itself. So,
I love it. Very smart, Edge, as well. Yeah, very, very good.
There we go. But real pleasure. It's a pleasure to be here.
We've been looking forward to it, Ange. It's been a long time coming as well.
No, it's a pleasure to have you on, Ange. Maybe perhaps save the best one for last on the occasion. But how's your season been in terms of Supercoach? So what's your rank and how many trades do you have left?
Wow. I've got one in the bank, and my current rank is 33,180, which is super disappointing, which we'll get into in a second. Finished last year up at 6,011, and I was really, really happy with that. Very nice. My goal was to get in the top 5K. I hovered around the top 2.5, I think, for a while, but I ran out of trades just after the buys, and we all know what happens. Carnage happens. And I just saw so many red arrows from then on, but I still managed to be, in the top 6K. So this year I was going for the top 5K. started down in the doldrums like you did last year, DR. And so, yeah, I haven't really managed to get out of it. However, I can't really figure out why. Like, the whole plan this year was to watch the content starting from last year, study the rookies to within an inch of their lives to make sure I got the right ones, go guns and rookies, which is, I think, what Crazy Frogs, Julian wanted to do earlier. That's what I did. It didn't work. And I only wanted – so I studied the rookies really hard pre-season, and then I only wanted to have premiums that were Ubers. So here's the players. I've actually taken notes here. This is serious drive-by myself. It really is. Here's the players that I dodged. This and ranked 30,000. I dodged. I didn't start Fife, but then I got FOMO in round 2 or 3 and got him, and then traded him out again. Didn't start Green because of his buys. Didn't start Jordan Dawson because I love Jordan Dawson, just didn't quite trust him. Didn't start Rao, didn't start Clary, didn't start Walsh, didn't touch Took, haven't gone near Curnow. I traded Fish to Sinclair when he got injured, and that was my last remaining cash in the bank. So that was within the Uber pod thing. So I didn't want any of these guys that everyone's calling fake primos now. I didn't want to be stuck with them. So there were no early buy players at all, except Isaac Heaney came in round 2 because I realised very quickly he just had to come in, or that was going to be
Ange. Good call.
Big time. So but here's my. I just wanted to read you guys out my team, and I started from there is absolutely still nothing really in the forward line. So I decided to start from defence and build down. There's still nothing in the forward line. So, back line is Jack Sinclair, Harry Sheasel, Luke Ryan, Jordan Clark, Jordan Ridley, your boy Spills, and Dan Houston. Nice. Then we've got midfield, Bont, Dunks, Goulden, Dacos, Merritt, Sarong, Warner and Steele at M8. Cherry and English in the ruck. That was a trade I made last week. I traded Maxi to Cherry because I'm trying to catch up. It's not working. I'm seeing red arrows everywhere, but I'm trying to catch up. The forward line is Flanders, Henny, Zorko, and that's where it ends. I'm stuck with Sexton, Dowling, Kruger. Last week I was really stoked. Saw the teams drop. Was sweating on. I've got Will Graham still, and I've still got our sandwich maker, Breville. And that was awesome for me. I saw those green ticks go up, and it never occurred to me that they were going to be subs. And I was busy. I didn't see the team sheets. So I was really lucky because I was looping Graham with Warner because he's been spun it up so bad, and I thought he would get tagged. And and so anyway, I had Warner on the bench, thank goodness, because what did they combine for? A grand total of 10 or something.
Bugger all.
So much money. Week after week there's always been something that happens, and I've dodged so much carnage. I went Fish to Sinclair, and the next person on my hit list was Rankin, and then he got suspended, so I missed that too. I missed so much in the luck stakes, but I just can't get up in those ranks at all. There's just something Bruce.
It's competitive
on field, there's or Dunks. I had Dunks as my captain, and I'm like, come on. And I love the way Lockie Neal goes about it, but I've never really hated him that much ever in that
I'll tell you.
And I love that. What a call.
And I captain Dunks as well, and they're both on 70 at halftime. You're like, okay, we're both doing okay. And then what do you know is that Lockie Neal, the ball goes about 10 meters. He takes the mark, and good old Bailey Williams nudges the post there, so they can't even get Sneeko out there to see if the ball hits the post. You're like, oh, you just know that you can
see it all.
And then Dunks does nothing in the fourth quarter. Neil kicks another goal, and you're like, all right, here we go. Here's the voodoo going on here.
It was the only game of the weekend I actually got to watch, the last game, and I was heavily invested, of course. So, yeah, I'm watching the two of them on fan footy as well, and they're neck and neck. I'm thinking, well, this is all right, because they're not highly owned, either of them. And I actually bought Dunks in round 10 because I wanted one of the Brizzy boys to cover over the buys. I buy planned really hard this year. Yeah. And, yeah, just to watch I'm watching Loch Neal and I'm like, I love the way he goes about it. He's in and under, but yeah, stop hogging it. Goodness me, give it to Dunks. Give it to Dunks. And
they never give it to Dunks. It's always the other way around. Damn you.
Yeah.
Damn
Dunks
you,
is
Lockie.
doing all the defensive stuff, which sometimes doesn't get rewarded.
Yeah.
So in a game like that, just didn't fall his way. So
yeah, exactly. So, it's always something. I was pinning my last hopes on, and that was, of course, I'd already I've got Errol, he'd scored well. I had the VC on merit, and of course, tagging's in vogue. So all these Uber Primos I've got now are just getting tagged all the time. And it's ridiculous how much money they've actually lost as compared to what I paid for them before tagging became vogue. So I had the armband on Caleb Sarong when Richmond decided for the first time they'd send Jack Graham across. I was
that was a random one.
That.
Yeah. Well, look, above all, so this year, who is someone that you've really loved as a starting pick, and then throw one that you've regretted as well. So real rapid fire, who are two? Two here. So one that you hate, and then one that you've loved owning this year in your side.
Catta actually pinched mine. My MVP is Cohen Livingston. Yeah, absolutely. Cohen Livingston.
Cohen Livingston.
He's getting the love, Janath.
Even though I can't quite get it right, I've got it right maybe 5 times for VCC. I've already seen the questions, so yeah, I don't know, but I'll try. But yeah, he's only number 1 on the list because my second guy in Caleb Sarong has lost me so much money since I started. So yeah, Cohen Livingston's done a lot of good things, and he hasn't lost me any cash either. So, but yeah, I was very determined to start with Caleb Sarong. So the plan, he's my boy. I had him last year and I love him. Love the way he goes about it. Love watching him play. Just love everything about him. And I thought from last year that he could probably put some more points on what he had last year. I heard he had a really good preseason and stuff too. So yeah, he's my boy. So even though I'm a Collingwood fan, so I put him in. Yeah. And Dan Houston as well I started with. So it's Caleb Sarong definitely. Plan was to start with those Freo boys and the Port boys because of the buy structure.
Yeah, that's really fun.
Yeah. Of course, it was the plan to get those lot in. And by round 3, I think I had, I had Ryan, Houston, Sarong, and Butters all in by round 3. And that was the buy plan in there. So yeah, best one in is my boy Caleb Sarong that I started with, and Cohen Livingston has helped a lot too.
Yeah, absolutely, and it might be a tougher one, but one that you've regretted. So who's absolutely stitched you up in your starting side, and you wish you could go back and never see him ever again in your side?
I don't know how this happened. I can't remember what happened in round 0, 1, or 2. But I noticed in my first trade out, I've traded out Jaden Short. Now, how did I start with him for starters? He's burned me before. How did he get me again? I don't understand. But yeah, him, definitely.
Yeah. I know a few that got sucked into Shorty over the preseason and were really advocating the selection. And I just thought there was just no way. I'd seen it before in 2022, and I was stuck with he and Chris, but at D5 and D6, it sort of derailed the season at the end. I just thought there's no way this bloke's going to be seen in my side ever again.
He's never averaged 100 as well. He's
ridiculous.
Always been
You'd think he would.
Yeah.
Yeah. So. Yeah, hasn't got the runs on the board, and now he's as injury prone as ever. So you probably just I'm all with you there, Ange.
But that's a lesson. Never again list. That's where these players belong.
That's right.
Very important list. And you never again list. So you won't be going anywhere near Short next year in 2025. But who's someone you're absolutely locking in for 2025 that you want to see in your side come round 1?
Jules Spilsy.
For consistency, I mean, the obvious, it will be Bond. And I started Bond, I would start him again. His price doesn't really fluctuate too much. So you never really want to be in the position where you can't get to him if you anti-potted him. I wasn't going to start him. And then that lesson I learned from last year came in and went, wait a minute, you couldn't actually get to him when you needed to. He doesn't really drop too much. He tends to hold. So, Bond and Sexy Sam Flanders, definitely. The man, he still hasn't dropped under a ton this year, has he?
No, he hasn't.
No, he hasn't.
And going to be a defender mid next year probably. So, he's someone that we can absolutely lock in our back lines. There's no doubt about that. Yeah, so that's going to be an unreal pick. So that's a great shout by you there, Ange.
Thanks, Bills. I was going to ask, will he be a def mid next year? Because he really should be.
Yes,
an awesome
he will be.
He will.
Absolutely. 100%.
He's played. You only need 35% playing time in a position, and I reckon he's played about half the season there at least.
Yeah.
So he'll be at least 50% if the remainder of the season's midfield as well.
Yep, good call.
Yep.
Love that. He'll be number one in defence for me next year.
I reckon him and a player that we were sort of mentioning earlier, I think Catta mentioned it, Max Holmes, who's now playing in defence now as well.
Boy, Maxi.
Back into defence. I reckon if he's a defender, we won't get Dacos, but we'll get Sheasel.
Yep.
We'll get Flanders. We'll get Max Holmes. I reckon that could be a very popular D1 through 3 next year.
Yeah, how's that? Yeah.
Yep.
Definitely.
Will we get Sheasel? I'm not sure. Maybe. We'll have to wait. It'll be very close.
Oh, be touch and
very
go.
Close.
Yeah,
touch and go. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, last one here, Ange. So obviously hasn't probably been a season that you're completely after. So it's all about lessons. What's something that you would take forward to next year that happened this year? Where you thought, probably, would I have done things a bit differently? What's one real valuable lesson you've learned from our season 2024?
One lesson I've learned. No, hang on. I don't know if I've learnt it yet. Ask me again next season. One lesson I'm told, it's a real drive by Ange here. Seriously.
Give a drive by to one of us.
I've no issue with that. If any of you guys have done what I'm about to tell you, then I'm driving you by as well.
Here we go. I'm keen to hear.
Yeah.
I'm trying really hard to learn this every year, but I burn an inordinate amount of trades in the ruck. Like it's a 3-man line.
Don't we all?
How do I burn that many trades? I went from Grundy, Marshall, Marshall, Gawn, Grundy, down to Jordan Sweet, and then back up to Tim English, and now I can't get back to Grundy. And I should have just gone Grundy and just left it at that. Saved about 5-6 trades. Wowee. So and it gets me every year, but I was really, really traumatized last year because I had a trip to Adelaide. I had it set. We were in Adelaide. There was a game actually happening in Adelaide over that weekend, and it was just after Rory Laird had dropped that stinker, that 50, and then he bounced back. And
that was a howl on it. How bad was that?
Too hot. It was too hot for Rory that day.
Too hot for Rory.
I didn't have him
on.
on.
It was like 40 degrees. It was very... To be fair,
hot.
it was absolutely steaming, but that was
deflating. Yeah, and I held him through. Rory was my boy, he was a def mid, and then people thought maybe he couldn't be a mid, and I thought, no, I think he can put his big mid boy pants on, and he did. It's kind of sad to see him drop off, but he went massive, and then I look at my phone, and Maxi Gawn's gone off for a donut. Like, what's going on there? He's got injured or stepped on or something in the first. It was round 2 or something like that. So
it happened very early
against Brisbane.
So he's big Maxi with the cross next to him on a big fat donut, and I just got traumatized, and I flip around in the ruck way too much. I should just leave it, set and forget. So I've learnt that. I've done a bit of sideways trading in corrective trading, like Fish has been in and out and in and then out again. So that's a lot of trades. Colby McKirch has been in and out a couple of times, and I'd love to get back to him, but I can't now. With one in the bank, I'm kind of stuck. So I've got Brucey Revel and Graham on the bench, but no cash left in the bank, and there's not much I can do with them because I can't do one up, one down with only one.
Situation.
So, yeah, I mean, I don't know even how I burnt 40. I say it every year. Last year, when we have 36 or something, I'm like, I'm not going to burn these. And then we had 40. I'm like, I'm not going to
really
burn
aggressive.
these.
You
And have a look at us now.
don't appreciate
Exactly.
the trades more. Like
Yeah.
Very cool.
So, I've only been playing for sort of 4 or 5 years, and I used to listen to the Jock Reynolds boys, and it was this kind of banter, and always in the car. Yeah, I'd listen to those blokes, and absolute legends. And so I sort of got into it then, and never really looked back from there. And then I started watching all the content across YouTube because everybody's got different perspectives. So what I learned this year is that I didn't go Squadfather hard enough because I wanted to stay away from people like Matt Rowell and early buy players, and I lost a lot of points in doing that, in waiting to one up, one down. So they were, and I punted Nick Martin really early. Like, I know that Supercoach is a form of patience and it's my respite, but my natural state is pretty zen. But when it comes to Supercoach, like, I can rage trade like no other. And I've tried not to do it this year, but I punted Martin. Yeah.
Great lesson.
Another great regret is my next one up, one down was going to be LDU, and then he went bad, and I went, yeah. Because I like to pay top dollar for players when they're in red hot form, and that's what I've got.
Wipe that smile off your face, Janath.
Yeah.
Why? Can I not enjoy LDU?
He's held all year, and he's reaped the reward. So, I guess
it's a tip of the Supercoach beanie to you, Janath, for holding him, and the swordplay beanie and being patient with him because I love watching him play too. And when he's on, you just think, this could go anywhere.
He looks like we're done here.
This could go anywhere. My other rule I had this year, and my lesson learnt from it was that I really only wanted to go also high ceiling, high floor players. And that meant that I paid up for players that I probably shouldn't have. And like players like Dogger, I really should have him as forward cover, but I don't. And even though he's a bit up and down, he's better than the rookies I'm stuck with, like Alex Sexton and Joe Richards and Nathan Kruger. And so I'm sort of relying on loops in the forward line with rookies to hopefully, pop off an 80 or a ton or something to actually be competitive because, Isaac Rankin's going to come back. And, I think I'm going to get blown out of the water around there. So the lesson was don't go too aggressive, but I think this year I went back too hard the other way and was a little conservative for the first however many weeks, and I lost a lot of points. The last drive, the big drive-by I'm going to do on myself is other people have mentioned it too, is my VCC choices. Like I added it up, I've lost over 1,000 points in VCC choices, and that stings.
It adds up.
It does.
One thing I'll say to that, Ange, is I imagine that you didn't lose 1,000 points because you didn't take your VC. So you can't be too hard on yourself because at the end of the day, you can only pick one VC and you can only pick one C. If everyone chose the best scoring player in that round as their VC or C, they should definitely be first. So I don't think you can be that harsh on yourself there, Ange.
Yeah, agreed. And it's been a really rough year. Another lesson learned this year was
the taggers.
It's just super hard. I listened to Dr. Supercoach and I listened to Pig Mentality about his captain's choices. The man's normally right on the money, and third man up as well. It's just become really challenging not knowing if a player's going to get tagged out of it, really. And it can really hurt in points. So what the difference between Josh Dunkley as captain or Chalky Neal, if I had him, was quite a few points, and I think I lost a couple of leagues because of that. So it's a swings and roundabouts because I didn't bring Isaac Rankin in, so I didn't have to deal with that. So I've had some luck, but I've also had some VCC choices that have just sort of been tagged out of it, and it just little frustrating things like that. So to next year, just basically what I did this year, get into the rookie content as early as possible. And a big one I learned from playing BBL Supercoach last year was to not focus so much on familiar names. Look for new people coming through.
Great
look
call.
for breakouts. I applied that to BBL last year with blokes that came over from overseas that I'd never heard of, and it worked really well. So that's one thing I learned from that, but we'll also take into Supercoach next year that this kind of set and forget midfield thing is not really, it's just not as it was anymore. It's kind of competitive in there. Tagging is happening, and
I agree.
it's just really challenging to figure out whose defense I think is a bit easier, but midfield and forward line in particular, they're just forward lines at dumpster fire.
It's a really great point that you've alluded to there with the BBL. I like that comparison because we so used to picking the same old names every year. Like there's no rules. You can pick whoever. So I think it can definitely work. So it's a good piece of advice. And it looks like you got a lot of really good lessons that you could definitely bring in, and everyone else that's watching. Yeah, 100%. But into next year. And before we answer these last two questions, we know you're always super kind, but what is some general feedback you'd like to give to myself, DR, and Janath about the podcast? And feel free to be critical as well at the same time, because we'll take any advice. It's free. So, hit us up with what you reckon we could do to better the podcast, or what we do that's good as well. So we look forward to hearing that.
Yeah, wow. I'd love to give some constructive criticism feedback, but there really just isn't any. Like the only person that deserves to be driven by in the four of us right now is me, and I've done that.
We're not copping that.
Seriously,
appreciation potty.
That's all right. No, look, it needed to be done. I need a rocket, and I know you guys weren't going to do it, so my VCC choices are just terrible, like terrible. I might as well get my lorikeet to pick VCs. She'd do better.
There's a strategy. That's outside the box.
Just do what Spills does, Ange, and toss a coin, honestly.
Wow, something like that.
Or jump in league with Janath and check out the matchup, see what he's doing, and then make a decision. That's the other thing you can do.
Exactly. And another piece of advice I've got, for people that feel like they're floating down the end. Actually, that was it for feedback on the potty. Keep doing what you're doing. It's awesome. It's something I watch every single week. It's something I have on in the house as well, so that my young fella, as mentioned before, he hears it all the time. It's, the Dr. Supercoach lead-in thing, he kind of bops to it now when he hears it. Green. It's really cool.
Love it. What a man.
So, it's legendary, and just keep doing what you're doing, guys. You're doing such a good thing for the community as well, and three incredible human beings. Just keep doing what you're doing. Yeah, absolutely.
No, appreciate it. Really appreciate it.
Four incredible human beings at the moment. 4.
100%. Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. All right, Ange, we'll chuck you on in the spotlight here, and obviously you've had a bit of time to prepare for these questions. I haven't even had a look at them. So Supercoach Crazy has said, name one player you'd love to have in your side that you don't own. One from every line would be great. Thanks for an awesome year so far. So real quickly, one from each line. Just the one word answer. Like, what do you reckon? Have you thought
one from each line that I don't own?
That you like. Yeah, just rapid fire. Just I suppose.
Okay, I wouldn't. I'm not sure if I would change my defense, but if anything, I might put. I wouldn't mind either Nick Martin for the DPP again, but I can't do it again, or I wouldn't mind. Sorry, I've just blanked for a sec there on the other guy.
No, you're right.
Nick Martin and Lockie Whitfield. I wouldn't mind having Lockie Whitfield because he can put up some big scores as well. Yeah, good so call. I can't get to him. I'm not sidewaysing, but Lockie Whitfield, I wouldn't have minded having either.
What would you boys say? I was going like a Sinclair Holmes type here as ones that I don't know.
I would say Sinclair
very
for me.
Expensive though, and Yeah,
Yeah,
but
it's
I guess you take price out of it, then yeah, I think Sinclair's. People a bit flat with the score on the weekend. I mean, absolutely bucketing down in Adelaide, not going to suit his game style, and now the Saints have. I don't know if it's starting from now, but the endless Marvel run, five games in a row at Marvel. So I think despite the high break even, I do like Sinclair. If that's going to be a tangent there, so. Ange, midfield and rucks. What do you reckon? One from each line.
Midfield, person I wish I had most but don't because I've now traded him to do something else is Zach Butters. I thought he was going to get tagged too much and I dropped off him. So, I'm right. And, look, you can put Connor Rozee in there too, but without that forward mid DPP, it just didn't really fit the structure. So, and I'd love to own LDU as well. In the back line, of course, Jack Sinclair. I got him for his run home, and as much as I was disappointed with him last week, I actually wrote down what he'd gone before I bought him in. So he's 147, 135, 143.
I love that.
And since I've had him, he's gone 110 and 88. So I'm letting him off the hook.
Murphy's Law.
Yeah, exactly.
He'll come back up. He's coming back up.
And the hope is that as was my plan with the Uber Elites, that maybe some other super coaches can't actually get to him at this point of the year because he's priced out of it. So, ruckline Maxi, because I've traded him out and I'm scared. So that's what my remaining trade's all about, getting big Maxi back in. And forward line, Isaac Rankin, definitely when he comes back. I'm scared of that too. I don't have him, and he's very good at football.
He's a freak, Very unlucky. Very unlucky owners that stuck fat. Ned here has captaincy thoughts this week, so it could be. I don't know. We're probably going to real brief captaincy corner, Janath. I don't know. There, but
we could do one.
We will discuss that, but there's a few options. But
I was going to say
what
just on the Friday night, I think Essendon Adelaide, Zach Merritt is a really good shout to bounce back after a poor game. I can't really see Adelaide tagging in this matchup.
I don't think they do.
The one matchup that I'm really targeting this week, and Ange, I'm sorry to say this.
Oh no!
But Adelaide Oval against Richmond, Zach Butters. If he's not tagged, he will go to the moon. Jack Graham's done a job in the last couple of weeks on a couple of players. Now it's been sacked.
The chances he does, mate?
It's been Caleb Sarong and
I'm not taking those chances, DR.
Give us a percentage, Janath, on the percentage that you reckon he'll get tagged, mate. What do you reckon? How confident?
I'm going to say it's 50-50. He's going to go to one of Rosie.
That's a big help. Thanks, mate.
But let me tell you, if you VC Butters into anyone on the Sunday, so Neil, Sarong, one of the Blue boys, one of the North boys, I think I'm willing to chance it with a VC on Butters because of the potential that he isn't tagged and he goes to the moon.
I like Neil as a captain option. I do against Sydney.
It's
real good record.
It is one of those matchups because I'll tell you what, his last two games against Richmond, because I got on him for the 175, I captained him for the 175 early this year, and his last game of last year was 158.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Against
I don't
Richmond.
think Graham will be able to.
It's a crazy matchup at Adelaide Oval.
Surely they've got to tag him in. If he's done that in their last two, surely Uze's going to go.
He wasn't the coach last year.
You're right. Yeah.
The other matchups, I don't mind Bont against Geelong. GMHBA, he scored 150 last year. I remember in the last game of the season, I thought it was a Brownlow type of game from Bont. Unfortunately, couldn't win it. If Jeremy McGovern played against St Kilda, it would have been a semi-VC dart throw, but unfortunately, he's not going to be right to get up this week. Apart from that, there's not many players that
nailed the obvious.
I got one question,
Janath.
Dennis.
Coming off me straight up. Yeah, go on, Dan.
I got one question, mate. So let's just say that you own both Butters and Rosie, and we've got 30 seconds before the first before the lockout.
You wouldn't get that low. You wouldn't get that low, Dan.
You see Jack Graham going to Zach Butters. You know he's going to have a tough day. Do you switch it to Connor Rosie? So if you knew that Rosie wasn't going to get tagged, If you could,
I'm
if
going
I
to the
could
Bond.
say lock in, you'd go the Bond. So you wouldn't switch to. Would you be?
I'd have
confident with
the
Rosie
dual
as the
screen going somehow.
I'd be
Both
tempted to
live.
go Rosé though.
I'd have the dual
captain?
screen
That's what I'm
going,
thinking.
and I'd
Like
I'd go
Rosé against Richmond.
Butters, Bont, Rosie. That's how I'd do it.
Butters, Bond, Rosie.
If none of them are
Okay.
tagged, that's the order I'd had them in.
I'll tell you what,
I like
I'm
it.
so tempted.
And I think DR, you just
so
brought up
tempted.
Zach Merritt. So sorry to cut you off, DR. You did just bring up Zach Merritt. I think Zach's really good for a. Well, I think he's safe. I think he's a very safe one.
Is
I
that
think
what we
he's. I
want,
think
though?
he scores
We don't
one.
want a safe sort of VC, do we? We
But
want
you
to.
No, we don't.
DR, I
Everything,
reckon.
upside,
I
ceiling.
reckon
Yeah,
there's
I
something
think
that
Merritt for
we're failing to
135.
consider. What's the best captaincy score you've got in the last 4 weeks, DR?
Well, it's
Oh,
not
it's good.
Dogger from last week. I can tell you that much, mate.
Have you got a one? Have you got a 140 as a captaincy recently?
Oh,
I know
don't
I
even know off
haven't.
the top of my head. If you haven't, I haven't because I
you-
follow
I
you
got
you.
one.
remember.
I
Unless
actually
it's
got one
Dunkley, I'll
last
go
week,
Neil.
but that's another story.
Oh, Spills, all right, bro. We get it. We get it. You got Neil, all right. But let's be real. Have you got a 140?
No, I don't reckon I have.
I think that something that we're failing to consider, we're chasing these high upside scores that we're just looking past the best matchups. And so
Yeah, that's
Butters
true.
versus Richmond looks really good. If he's
Yep.
tagged, you go into this purgatory again. You're like, oh gosh, I've got to try to get a 120. And that's something I don't think I've used my VC in the last month. Like
I'd back in
VC,
Neil
lock him in,
before
secure it in the last month because there's just all
Yeah.
these matchups I'm chasing for the ceiling that I'm not looking after any floor at all. And then that's really bottomed out.
Yeah,
Merritt
yeah.
into Butters is not a bad call. I think the safest pick here would be Merritt into Bond or Butters into anyone on the Sunday. That's the way I would do it. I wouldn't captain Butters in the case he gets tagged.
Yeah. I do like Neil on the Sunday, though, to fall back. Like, so consistent, Neil.
Does a James Jordan, like it's... I
don't
know
know.
John Longmire said
Different role.
this morning that they're not going to tag, that
That's a
it
different
hasn't
role.
worked in the past. He didn't say
Did he really?
he didn't say he's not going to tag. He said it hasn't worked in the past on Chalky. But is that mind games like, oh, we're going to tag this week? Put in
Reverse
Lockie's mind, or you're not
psychology.
going to get the tag.
Would they tag
hard
the
to say.
club? Maybe they're looking to tag the club. Maybe more of that
Maybe.
outside damaging.
Got no idea. It's
But-
going to be a
You
good
just
game.
watch
This
the
is a proper
pre-game show for the
50-50.
Port game, and you just make sure that, like, whatever they're going to do, then are they going to tag Butters, and then you make your decision from there. But I don't know. You'd be pretty bold.
And I
Good
guarantee
goal
what'll
anyway.
happen there is you'd be like 1 second after the lockout.
Because
Like,
if you're on
like,
KO and you're
maybe
1
it's
minute
like a
behind,
lock.
you're going to
You
miss
see
it.
that little padlock there.
it's nothing
risky,
worse.
isn't it? It's risky,
Nothing
particularly
worse.
if you're watching
Yeah.
KO. I've done that a
But-
couple of times.
Oh,
You're watching
boys.
KO, and if you get you like 30 seconds behind, and you're like, beauty,
Yeah.
I'm going to change your captain up last minute. And it's like, hang on, we're 20 seconds into the game here. So
Boys,
it's
how
dangerous.
about this one? How about this? I didn't watch the game on Saturday because I was coming home from the Blues game, but I see Jack Steele has the Berry next to him, which I imagine Sam Berry has matched up on him. Is it possible that Merritt gets Berry?
It is a possibility, yeah. Particularly,
And
I don't know the
Merritt, can Berry
conditions.
go with him?
Oh, it's at Marvel. It's all good. Sorry, Janath.
He hasn't-
Spilsy,
he
you
won't have
reckon?
the pace, will he? Will he have
It's a chance.
He hasn't got a great tank, Sam Berry, though, has he? He's never
Oh,
been known
Merritt
for
would
his
run him
tank.
into the ground.
He's told,
Yeah.
like, Sam
I
Berry's
won't
told
worry about that. I won't worry about that. Ange, what do you reckon? What are you thinking, captains
Where you
wise?
going,
We've just
Ange?
been
Give me
going
your options.
absolute wild tangent. What are your thoughts on the? This question was
Well, it's not
originally
a
directed
tangent.
at.
It's part of the question, Spilsy.
Yeah, it is.
Tangents.
We've got
Yeah,
to,
no,
got to
it's not a
involve Ange,
tangent.
though.
I'm enjoying
Got to
this.
get her in. Got to get in the discussion.
I'm totally
What are you
enjoying
thinking?
this. I got a question for DR though. Is your bloke Berry going to go to Warner or Goulden? Do you think? Probably Warner, I would think, being the slower
Heaney.
player.
Heaney?
Yeah,
Ooh.
look, I think Warner's just got that damage. I was
Yeah.
listening to SEN, and they're talking about how many shots like Joey Danaher, Charlie Curno's had from like outside 50. I think it was like 14 or something or so each, and they've only got 3 goals apiece, 3 or 4. Chad Warner is, apart from key forwards, the next bloke that's taken the most amount of shots outside 50, and I think he's actually scored 8 goals outside 50. And that was just a stat that I thought, you know what, that just goes to show how damaging this bloke can be. bursting out of that stoppage. And we know how damaging Errol's been, but it hasn't seemed like many other coaches have sort of put too much pressure on him. So for me, I still believe that if you're going to tag someone, particularly in the CBA, it's got to be Chad Warner, because he's the bloke that can so easily get onto that ball, bomb it in, and impact the scoreboard. So for me, I would assume it's going to be Chad Warner. Don't know if do you blokes disagree on that? There's no guarantee.
I wouldn't disagree with that. No.
I reckon it's a bigger type body with Berry as well.
I'm just thinking, comparing. So the main matchup I'm thinking with Berry was how he went to Bont, and then when I'm looking at sort of height, Chad Warner's 185, Isaac Heaney is 184. So there's no real difference in the height factor there. Berry could easily as well go to Heaney as he could with Warner. It's really hard to split the difference there. I don't think he goes to Goulden unless he plays on the wing and he just says go with Goulden everywhere.
Yeah, the only thing as well is that I think that Berry, if Heaney was to go forward, I don't think Berry would be too comfortable actually having to be a defender on Heaney. What Brisbane did last week, if you saw, was the other way, Rankin was in the midfield, Berry would sort of take control of him, and then when he'd go forward, obviously Starcevic was a man to do that. So I know that that's one thing Brisbane look to do, is to really focus on a midfield tag. And if, for example, that player moves forward, they'll have another player that's going to be allocated to that when they make the switch. They talked about how important communication was between our mids and our defence. So my guess would be that if there's a midfielder being tagged, it's most likely going to be Warner. But who knows? Who knows? I'm really not too sure. Throw a blanket up there. They've got so many stars. That's why Sydney's such a dangerous midfield. And you forget about blokes like Parker and Mills that have been champions for years. You know, these guys are taking a back seat to your Heaney's, your Warners and your Gouldens now. So what a midfield it is.
It's incredible.
It's elite. Yeah, I love Luke Parker, but yeah, he wouldn't make it into that midfield now. I love watching Luke Parker play, but I fear that he's not going to make it back in there. And yeah, it's been challenging having Goulden and Warner because I never really know which one they're going to go to. Yeah. But my VC option, or what I'm going to do this week is I'm going to VC Zachy Merritt, unless I'm not sure if Spills is there, because the other two blokes I'm thinking of are pods. So I was thinking about throwing the VC on Ridley as a lower owned, as a bit of a pod. But I don't know what you think about that, Spills. You're the best man to ask. He's your boy.
I think Riddles does his best work on the G, personally. Loves the open ground. So he just gets so many of those wider kicks and a lot of uncontested stuff, a lot of long meters gained. So because it's at Marvel, I'd probably lean more towards Merritt, but I do like the shout.
So it'll be
totally against it.
Yeah, I'll be happy just to take his points if he pops off. Be Zach Merritt for me in 2. It'll be either possibly Josh Dunkley.
Yeah, I don't mind.
Or I really would like to go the pod option with Jack Sinclair at Marvel, but I'm a little bit scared off by the last 2 scores. He's playing West Coast.
I wouldn't be. He's going to have a good game.
Is he playing West Coast?
He's playing West Coast, but I'm not sure about his role. His role is very variable at the moment. Again, he's gone. He's not playing solely in defense anymore. He's getting his CBAs back, and it's just a weird role. With Filippo, he had 84% CBAs on the weekend. So it's like with Filippo out now again, I think he's just going to play midfield for the remainder of the season.
Yep. Yeah, that stings.
So against West Coast, that may be better. Who knows? But just something to add one final thing to add, Ange, before we let you go, with regards to the Merritt VC. Essendon have lost 5 games this season, I think. Let me just double check that. I think they've lost 5 games this season. 6, sorry. And Zach Merritt scores, I'm missing one of the scores, in the games after those losses, because he's a captain, something to keep in mind. 131. So let me just bring up the teams just to help that out with. 131 against St Kilda, 108 against the Bulldogs, 125 against Carlton, 135 against West Coast, and 145 against Collingwood. So really good scores to back up post
Very
a loss
consistent
for the Dons. So I think it's something to just keep in mind as a really good shout. At Adelaide, if I was just to bring up the defense versus position data there, I think that.
And of course, Zach Butters, that has to be. I don't have him, but he has to be part of that discussion.
I wouldn't make him the seat. I'm not confident enough to make him my seat. But Adelaide is the third easiest matchup. Yeah, Adelaide is the third easiest matchup. Yeah. Richmond in the last 5 games for midfielders are actually the 8th easiest matchup. So I think part of it is that Adelaide Oval factor for Zach Butters, but Merritt feels like a perfect yin sort of like Zen option that you can just lock in and almost have your VC done on a Friday and take away the stress of I have to go chasing a 120, 130, 140, 150, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I hope so. The question earlier was, when was the last time you got a 140 VC? It was Zachy Merritt. I got that 145. I did.
Bang.
I got that. It's so relieving to get it done on the first night. And
you're right.
We're busy, you don't have to worry about late loops or, that kind of stuff. So I really hope he gets the job done.
How stressful was it having Josh Dunkley as the final game? You're like, oh, please just come close.
It was, and then it got ugly. Like, I was just watching Lockie Neal just go off, as I said earlier, and it got ugly. And I'm like, Dunks, just get a little bit selfish. Like, don't hand pass it off to Chalky Neal to get the 45 kick inside. Do it yourself, son. Come on. But anyway, and I must admit, Josh Dunkley's my boy too. Like, I had him in when I started playing, when he was playing for the Western Bulldogs. And I love watching Josh Dunkley play. So, I put him in. The choice was out of him and Lockie Neal, obviously, and I just assumed that Dunks wouldn't get tagged as much as Lockie would. So, and I was, starting to suffer a bit of tag awareness or trauma at that point, and thought, oh goodness.
Yeah.
When Lockie's good, he's really good, but when he's tagged, it can turn ugly in your 60s, 70s, whatever, and be a bit of a roller coaster. Whereas Dunks kind of gets left alone and just goes about his business.
Great point.
Yeah.
Very true.
Yeah.
Very true.
So, Ange, to answer that question, the last time I had a 140 was Dane Zorko. And I think he was the perfect mix of a player in form, playing at his home ground against a perfect matchup. It's so hard to get all 3 of them.
Was that when he died down in the last quarter?
I
got that as well. Yeah,
he's on 110 at half time, DR, and then he finished on a 141 or something like that.
Yeah, that's right.
Really good.
Zach Butters is the player that meets all 3 of those criteria, I reckon. A player
I'm
in
not
form,
going past
playing
him.
at the home ground against a good matchup. It's hard to go past him. I think Merritt is the safer pick off those, though.
That's tough.
Let's just hope Merritt. Yeah, let's just hope Zachy Merritt goes off, because if Butters gets off the chain, it's going to be ugly for the FASD Warriors and Ange, like ugly. It's going to turn out to be the worst antipod ever. I hate not having Zach Butters now, and I cannot get him back without just sidewaysing someone. And it's going to be ugly for the rest of the year. But you make these decisions, I guess you stick by them. And I don't know who I got when I traded him out, but it was someone who was really important to fit. It might have been Jordan Ridley, because there was someone in my back line that was just really not doing it, and had to go to make way for someone. And when the Riddler came in and started doing what he was doing, I thought, well, I'm back in the ranks. I'm going to take a chance on him. And I tried to stay away from really, really, really injury-prone players. So, Elliot Yeo, I wouldn't touch him, and he's probably one of my biggest misses. So same goes for Jordan Ridley. I was a bit gun-shy, but I'm like, you know what? He's in form. He's pumping these scores out. I'm taking him. And Elliot Yeo, I was at the MCG in 2018 when one of our blokes, can't remember who it was, I've chosen to forget, kicked it out from full back straight to Elliot Yeo, straight in front of goal. He kicked the goal, and that's when it turned. And
Stevenson got in the way of the runner, and then
it was that's when it turned in real time at the game. Yeah. So I always had a bit of like Elliot Yeo's a burn man in more than one way to me. And
everyone has that sort of player.
Yeah.
Wow. But watching him on the weekend, watching him blast that goal from outside 50, wow. Like, yeah. And I believe, it just, he's still an unreal player. I've just, much like Treloar, I've just been waiting for him to go twang, and he did, but
we love
it took a long time, and now he's
more
back.
than others.
Don't group us into this.
Don't turn this. Don't turn
You're on
this.
your own there, buddy. Good try, mate.
Oh yeah. Sorry, yeah.
Speak for yourself, mate.
And as a Pies fan, I was there that day. He pinged both hammies too, and it was so unfortunate for Adam Treloar. He got a push. I was there in the vicinity, and it was just the way he copped a push. It was something that happens in play all of the time, and he landed in a way that just both pig strings went bang at the same time. It was just so unlucky, and since then he's struggled with them. But yeah, when he's on song, I've looked at him all year going, I want him in, I really do. But again, injury factor. Save your trades, Ange. Just burn them all in the ruck. That's what you need to do.
Jules, I reckon we wrap it up there then, mate.
I think so. Yeah, it's been a big podcast, and it's been awesome having all of our guests and community come on, and there's gonna be more come on too. And I really enjoyed doing this. It's something that we've never done before, and I think we're gonna particularly in the back half of the year when the relevance sort of dies out a little bit, we'll have a lot more time to sort of give back to our viewers who've just been so loyal, and none more so than yourself, Ange. Thanks for coming on to the podcast.
Problem.
Great to finally meet you. We've had a few exchanges on Twitter, and I think with everybody that's come on, we've had plenty to do with, and it's just awesome to meet them in person. So absolute pleasure to have you on, Ange, and we'll definitely get you on in the near future.
Absolute pleasure to be here, gentlemen.
Ange, I was going to say big shout out to your son as well. Heard he's a lovely fella. Heard that he listens in the background sometimes as well. So, mate, all the best, buddy. Thank you for listening in and tuning in, supporting Mum. You've got a lovely mum, mate. You're very, very blessed. And, she's a very special person in our community as well, mate. So you take care, champion. Look after yourself.
Thank you so much. Very kind. And he also, he's got a beanie as well. He also received footy cards that were sent to him, and it was really cool. I'm going to say, DR, I think you might have been responsible for that, because it was wrapped up in a package.
The young man,
the package was a winner. It was kind of, it was really cool, the unwrapping the parcel and stuff. And so thank you very much for that as well. And pleasure to be part of Swordplay. Really is.
Thank you, Ange.
We are nothing without people like you and our audience, Ange. So, mate, thank you so much. We've been waiting so long to finally, we feel like we all know you, and I'm sure we all feel the same. But it's lovely to finally have a chat with you. I won't say in person, but it's sort of as close as you can get to him. It's like in person these days with the younger generation, isn't it? It's how everyone does it. They game online, they chat online, all the rest. But, Ange, thank you so much again for coming on, mate. Thanks for sharing your journey, your lessons learned, and all the best of luck for the rest of the season, mate. Thank you so much again.
Luck, Ange.
Good on you, Ange.
And to you guys too. And thank you for everything you do for this excellent Supercoach community.
No, it's a pleasure. Thank you so much again, Ange. Much love.
No problem.
See you, mate. Bye.
Bye.
Oh, boys.
Wow,
boys.
Highlights of the... Is that 3.5 hours?
3.5 hours.
That's a record. That's the longest Supercoach podcast in history. It's got to be. It's got to be.
Give us the Guinness.
No one's going to beat that. No one's going to get more than that. I guarantee you.
I don't know if I can speak on behalf of you boys as well, but I often forget that we're recording a podcast. It's just like we're chatting with friends, just having a good old chinwag. And wow, we knew that we had the best community out there, but I think that solidifies this, and that just proves the fact.
And do you want to know something, DR? Catta has been the first guest, and he's still in the background, backstage, listeing in.
Oh, hang on.
All 3.5 hours of
We're going to add the man back. Here he is. Mate, what? How was it backstage, Catta? A little bit different behind the scenes there, mate?
Yeah, a few yawns are happening now though. It's getting a bit late. So,
we don't take that personally, mate. We do not take that personally.
It's always good to hear other people's opinions on the game too. I think it's really important.
But Catta, you can testify that this was all one take.
Yeah, absolutely.
No
One
editing.
take.
No editing.
No editing.
I'll
So,
tell you what, mate, thank you for staying back there, mate, and hope you enjoyed, mate. And I know that everyone will really enjoy listening to your great knowledge and wisdom, mate, because you are a massive part of the community. You obviously don't produce any of your own content. I know that every quarter you've got the most relevant scores up there for players with the poo symbols, the fire symbols, the think symbols, the question marks. So just little things you do like that for everyone, mate, that may not be across all the scores and all that. They know they can just quickly check out Catta's profile after a quarter. Bang, it's all there. So they're the little things that we appreciate as well that you do, mate.
And just very quickly, DI, it's something that Catta probably doesn't realize, but there's nowhere else where you can go and see quarter by quarter Supercoach scores. So when I'm comparing two players, sometimes I do a gander over to Catta's page, go and have a look if he's covered this game from last week. And I was like, okay, so I see Caldwell's on 9 at quarter time, 50 at halftime, 88 at three-quarter time, finish on 116. Yep. Okay. And I compare that. It's like, it's actually very useful because it's something that like you don't realize it from that perspective. It's not just live, but also in hindsight as well, which is really great.
I don't tell a lot of people about it, but my older brother works with some kids with Down syndrome, and we actually got 3 kids involved who now play Supercoach, and they're the reason why I do it. So they jump on every quarter and see where their scores are at. And without those 3 involved that we got involved early this season, I wouldn't actually do it. So I've only done it this year because my brother asked me to do it because he's not on X. And I said, mate, I'll happily do it when I'm not working or I'm available to do it, which I do probably 80% of the games. But I'm more than happy to make those 3 guys smile. And they've made it very clear to my brother that it's the highlight of their weekend. So, yeah, that puts a big smile on my face as well.
Smile as well, mate.
Absolutely. And shout out to you 3 legends as well that are tuning in and following Catta on Twitter. Love to see you involved in the game, boys. Thank you very, very much. Oh, that's a wonderful thing you do, mate. And I tell you what, last thing I'll mention, heading into BBL season, Catta is our resident weatherman. So we know that weather plays a big part in our BBL selections, and there is no better resource. I'll say no better resource. Don't worry about the bomb and all these other people and organisations. Go and check out what Catta's doing. He is on the weather, this man, and he gives us all the good oil when it comes to what's happening up there.
Very useful for me.
He always has a couple of recruits alongside him as well.
Very nice looking recruits, may I say. I was a happy married man.
All right, guys. Thanks for the opportunity again. You did a marvelous job tonight, and I felt obligated to watch it right through to the end because I wanted to see other people, communicate with you, and like you guys weren't speeding anyone up. It just shows how genuine the 3 of you guys are. So well done on doing what you do.
Thanks,
Thank you very much again. Awesome. It shows how good of a great bloke you are for supporting everyone. So. Guys,
I think
you reckon we're going to call this
the mumbling part of the night?
I think, yeah.
Oh, I'd tell you, 3.5 hours, boys.
I don't blame you, mate.
Pretty well, I think. So, guys, thank you very much to anyone that has tuned in, that has listened in, that has watched in today. We really do appreciate you. Whoever is tuning in, you're a big part of our community, a very special part of our community. But thank you to all the guests that we had on. Cannot thank you enough. And, boys, all the best of luck for this week. We're getting closer to the end, but there's still a little while to go. Good luck in your finals. Good luck if you're a league player. And we will all see you next week. All the best, legends. Cheers, get Catta.
Boys.
See you, mate.
Cheers,
Bye.
Bye.
Wow.
End recording.
We did it.
I just pressed end.